Well, I don't want to talk to some guy who has any peer-reviewed journalism.
Well,
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
it. I just don't have it on screen. A little
journalism.
bit, got some of it. But
Oh, God, you guys are nuts.
When
I
I
could send it to you
trained
after the show, B.
when I trained for further education teaching course, the thing that was drummed into me was lesson plans, and lesson plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, create your own lesson plans beforehand.
Well,
Okay,
you,
now you make it sound boring.
well, the thing is with Mark, it's like I was going over LLMs with him, and his head freaking almost exploded because
Almost.
freaking I was talking about parsing trees and stuff like that, and linguistics, and how it relates to computers. Tan to this day doesn't ever freaking want to talk tech with me anymore. Okay, and Mark Edworthy's face turned solid red, and I swear it was going to explode. So I know there's like some kind of traumatic injury that took place in the past concerning this stuff. He's probably in college and he freaking had like a horrible experience and he doesn't want to talk to anybody about it.
Who's
Uh,
this?
I can't
Mark,
remember. Um, oh,
Mark,
I think he got dropped when he was born.
that
cheers. Love you too.
I
Got
did.
dropped like a bad habit.
I did one more episode of Tech Talk, and after that, we've never done another episode ever since. That's the end of it.
Oh, Jared, I've been giving you ideas.
hmm Okay, I'm gonna hit record, and we'll we'll start the episode. I'm gonna do it with a cool introduction and everything. So
Mm,
let me do my countdown, and we will get it started because it's 3 minutes after the hour. So 3, 2, 1, now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Headlines After Midnight. I'm Roger Hanson, and I am your host for tonight or this morning, whichever you call it, because we are from different parts of the world. Tonight, I have with me my panel, and when I get back on Jitsi, I'll be able to name them. But tonight with me is Mr. Robot, Mark Edworthy, and V. And we will be having an interesting conversation because this is actually the night that I want to go over first some of the old talking points that I've had with Mr. Robot in the past that I swore I was going to use as talking points for Headlines After Midnight. Then after that, we want to get into a conversation with V. He wanted to cover some stuff that's been going on with Donald Trump, and we can get with that. But before we do that, we have to go through some of the stuff that I wanted to cover concerning talking points that we had with Mr. Robot, because I've got tons of them. The man never stops. He just keeps running and running like the frickin' Duracell battery. Like, I couldn't even tell you how much stuff.
How much coffee do you drink on a daily basis?
He's kind of nervous tonight because he said that
Depends how much I've got.
he's nervous too because he is running out of coffee. So
Yeah, I'm literally on I've got one more cup left, and then it's an all-nighter without coffee.
since you're here, though, I want to talk about something that you brought up in chat, and I want to find out exactly the details behind this. You weren't here when I brought it up the last time, but you had mentioned in chat about this quasi-judicial body in Italy that fined Cloudflare $17 million, and for I went and I checked it out and everything, and it's actually pretty interesting. And because what they did is they find him, they find him or them $17 million for failing to go along with their
If
scheme
you review the case notes,
to censor the internet.
I found the case notes where it was all written. Was all a PDF written in Italian. I was going to translate it, but didn't get around to doing it.
Well, I mean, if you want to kind of elaborate on that, because I know I talked to you about it already, but if you want to kind of put your input in and then have Mr. Robot
I
talk.
can't remember how to go back over one second chat.
Well, basically what,
I mentioned the law, didn't I? I mentioned, what was it, Italian law 96, 97?
well, what,
In Italian law.
yeah,
Oh, it was the piece of legislation that the Italian court were trying to do on Cloudflare.
So what did they want censored again? It's been a while since I looked at it.
It was related to copyright.
yeah, on
Yeah, but what?
on
They were
January,
great violating copyright.
I can give you some of the information.
It was something specific. Like there was one company, wasn't it, that they wanted to censor?
On January the 8th, 2026, a quasi-judicial body in Italy fined Cloudflare $17 million for refusing to comply with the country's piracy shield system, a mechanism requiring internet infrastructure providers to block access to websites accused of hosting pirated content within 30 minutes of notification without judicial oversight.
Wow.
Due process, appeal, or
It was a lot
transparency.
more complicated than that.
Now, Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince described the scheme as a censorship gambit and criticized it as enabling a shadowy cabal of European media elites to dictate online content globally, risking the integrity of Cloudflare's 1.1.1 public DNS resolver and potentially blacking out any site on the internet. Now,
Well, the EU has that does control the internet. I mean, the new terms that you have to agree to. I mean, these internet providers. There's so many EU laws on it. It's insane.
This wasn't about the EU. This was the EU could, if I remember rightly, the EU could prosecute Cloudflare on the the Market Service Act, Digital Market Service Act that came in force 2-3 years ago. But Italy is actually enforcing this on piracy, copyright or intellectual property legislation.
Yep. And now the last part that I've gotten, I pulled up as note for it was that the fine was calculated as up to like 2% of Cloudflare's global revenue, despite the company's 8 million in Italian sales in 2024.
It's actually 2% of global company revenue, or a maximum fine of 13 billion, whichever is greatest and whichever is more possible.
Okay, so it also goes on to say that it exemplifies what Prince's term was as extrajudicial overreach.
But we are seeing this problem already much more severe. Look at what's happened to the UK Online Safety Act.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was going to say this is a common theme that's happening now.
But more these divisive purpose to it.
Now, what was you going to say, Mr. Robot?
I'm just saying, like, you're seeing it all over the how do you call it, globalist controlled West. You know, they try to create these bureaucratic bodies that are meant to sort of regulate themselves, and if people don't comply with them, they'll fine the crap out of them until and just make it so expensive that, you know, people comply. And yeah, that's just like a common theme with censorship nowadays. That's the like running strategy, it seems. And you know, these bureaucrats, they pass laws so quickly, like the public doesn't have time to like catch up or like complain or anything like that, and it just keeps stacking up
and
until
often
we have so few like
very poor
recourses left. Yeah, it's a
Sorry.
real freaking problem, man.
Poor written laws are, especially in the UK, over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Poorly written legislation, so easily to be interpreted.
We need to start rolling laws back, you know, because these freaking people just keep putting laws out that we didn't ask for. And
Absolutely, I agree.
You vote for these people, so
Nah,
you do
I
have
has anyone I've ever voted for gotten in? So,
Really.
Well, I mean, this really does go back to what I've been saying, though, that you guys always argue with me about, like, codification. I think Mark Edworthy's the only one that agrees with me about the whole idea of codifying your constitutions. Like, I don't,
does help, but not necessary. Look at the UK, in
Well-
theory.
right. Well, I mean, you guys don't have a codified constitution, though. See, that's the whole point. It's like if
No,
it was codified,
People, yeah.
if it was a codified constitution that can't be changed, then they can't pull this stuff. You know what I mean? And they did that on purpose because at one time it fit their freaking their narrative, but now it's turned on them, and people are starting to have issues because all of these politicians are changing laws at a whim.
Technically never had it codified. Yeah, I suppose when Magna Carta came out in 60 or not 66, but 12th century, wasn't it? That was a codified, but since then we haven't actually ever had a codified constitution. It's not the British way.
Yeah.
That's the European thing.
Well, I think that's what makes America the greatest nation that was ever.
Well, because you copy us.
No, we
No,
codified
that's-
our constitution as well.
Okay.
That's
That's
what
what did France.
that's what made us like the greatest nation on.
Would you say
on
France is
Earth.
one of the
yeah,
greatest
it's
countries in the world?
No.
It's like you let your election integrity go away, and now anyone can just buy their way into government.
Well,
there.
that's because our country has been invaded by the Europeans and their socialists and
We
and
built,
nationalist
the US.
views.
Been
Like,
invaded by everyone.
Europeans built the US.
well, I
We
mean,
British built the US.
that- that was after we've established our government. When you guys infiltrated our government and started, taking over.
your government, a lot of your government is based upon British values anyway.
I know.
God,
It's pathetic, isn't it?
No, it just means that we, Britain, is the greatest nation on the world.
No. You guys are
Everyone
horrible.
tried to escape Britain. That's how it all got
Yeah,
started.
well, you can't say that though, because like you're in Australia, you guys were kind of confined to an island. Like the history of Australia is horrible. What England did to the people of Australia, they should be ashamed of themselves. But hey, you
could
guys,
say that anywhere really.
you can, but you guys bounced back. That was the good part. You guys did bounce back and recovered from the horrible, horrible atrocities that England did to you guys.
We brought civilization to
Is that what
the
you call it?
world. 3/3 of 3/4 of the world.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed with Australia in the sense that most countries, when they undergo this like massive change from like hunter gatherer to civilization, that's like usually like a few thousand years drawn out experience. Look at Israel in the Middle East; they're still at war. Here it was like 100 years, and they've gone from like horse cart and wagon to basically space age. And there's very little like excess baggage left from the past. We get along pretty well with our indigenous people. There's still a few issues to work out, but it's not huge amount of animosity and stuff, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, I was wanting to make a comment about like this thing with Cloudflare. What it reminds me of is a lot of shit freaking that came out back during the time that they were supposedly doing like the investigations for Hillary Clinton. If you guys remember, they wanted to like freaking force everybody that was involved in those investigations to surrender their phones.
just recently,
Yeah, you know,
or when she had the email hacked.
the email hack, yeah.
So she had a whole bunch of government classified information on her personal email server, which is illegal, but no consequences, funnily enough. Whereas Donald Trump had files that he was meant to have, and
I think that trial is still technically going on.
Had his place raided.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton. And then recently they asked the Clintons, like Congress actually asked the Clintons to come in to testify to the Epstein files. And they said, no, we're not doing it, which is also illegal. Because, it was, I think it's called a subpoena. They were subpoenaed.
Yeah.
You're meant to show up, and they
have
didn't
to show up.
So, like,
Or
these
you're
people
arrested.
are above freaking law, and why? Why is Trump not holding these people accountable?
Well, this is what I wanted to comment on. I think a lot of this is just a total bullshit.
It's game.
And it's not going to go anywhere. It's just complete fraud. And I believe you said that too in the chat section, Mr. Robot. It's just a complete fraud, and it's not going to go anywhere. You know?
I feel like if it was going to go somewhere, it would have gone somewhere at least a little bit. But it's just like Pam Bondi just holding everything up. Trump is not pushing to get anyone indicted or like anything. After all the things they've done to him, like shot him, went through his like wife's underwear drawers.
That was I would have done that.
All this stuff, and he still doesn't even want to go after him. Like,
well, I mean, if I was a part of the Department of Justice, I would want to go through his wife's underwear drawer too. Just putting it out there.
I can't believe that.
Snatch him by the underwear.
You know what I mean?
Snatch him by the panties.
Yeah. Now, for me, what really stuck out to me on that whole situation was Hannity. Okay, with Hannity, I was so sick and tired of hearing this guy because he kept talking about this dossier, and they're gonna get Hillary and lock her up and all that crap, and nothing came out of it. Nothing happened, and all he was doing was just running his freaking mouth so that he could get freaking views. He could get people to watch his show, and that was it. He bled that until the final end when nobody freaking even gave a shit about him anymore, you know what I mean? And that's the thing that really irritated me the most about it. So that's my take.
To me, it's pretty clear that the whole government, including Trump, is like pretty much completely controlled by Israel.
Now we're gonna get back to Donald Trump, okay? But like I said, I have more talking points that I want to cover before we get into the Donald Trump thing, okay? Because you came up with some weird shit, and we got to cover this, okay? Now, you made a post before about the Harvard professor who had claimed that humanity could face an attack from an intergalactic alien force as early as November 2025. Okay.
Yeah. You
Now,
should put it up on screen if you've got it.
now I
It's like when you hear it, it sounds so bizarre that you're like, that can't be real. And like, sure enough, that was like a fucking news article just recently.
now this had to do with freaking with the Three Eye Atlas. Okay. Now this right here is actually something that really stuck out to me because it wasn't necessarily that I when it came to AI Atlas or Three Eye Atlas, I basically let freaking all these other people run their mouths and let it kind of like filter in before I made my comments on it. You know, and one thing that stuck out to me through the whole process of it, because it's old news now, but the one thing that really stuck out to me was something in that article you posted about that. Yeah, I can post the link here in a minute, but what it was is in the article it mentioned freaking the ESA, the Planetary Defense Office, the PDO. Now apparently there is a planet defense in Europe, and it's primarily coordinated by the European Space Agency, the ESA, and it's called the Planetary Defense Office. Now, under its Space Hera mission, Europe, led by ESA, actively participates in international exercise, recently conducting its largest drill that took place in 2025 in response to interstellar objects. Okay, now a lot of people have been talking about this being like a UFO and everything, but there's actually been sightings of objects like this, 3 of them so far. Okay, and I find it kind of interesting that nobody even remembers the fact that there were 2 of them that was reported previously to this one. You know what I mean?
Just one point. European Space Agency is not part of the European Union, and also has 23 member states, including non-EU members such as UK, Norway, Switzerland, and Canada. So they don't just serve Europe interests, or as far as Canada's concerned, anyway.
Okay.
Did you see this article that came out like less than a week ago?
What was it?
Put my screen up there.
Well, it's on there. I can see it.
The disclosure of aliens could cause a Bitcoin rush, former Bank of England analyst says. She warned of extreme price volatility in financial markets due to catastrophizing or euphoria and a collapse in confidence. They literally want to blame it on aliens.
What has been happening to the West since, 2007?
Okay,
this is on the best it's comical, on the worst it's scaremongering.
No.
Well, either that or they also know something we don't know. But I don't. The funny thing to me is like, all this shit already came out like a year, 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had the congressional hearings on UFOs and all that stuff, all the whistleblowers. No one cared. Like, no one did anything about that. There was no panic, no nothing. And all these years, our entire lives, we've been told, oh, we can't handle the truth. The public will panic. Therefore, we need to keep this stuff secret. But no one even batted an eyelid, man. Most people don't even know about it yet anymore. So it's interesting to me that they're coming up with this stuff now.
What's the internet saying? FUD, fear, whatever the other two words are.
I would
FUD.
call it a classic scapegoat, strategy, because the financial markets are, on the verge of collapse pretty much anyway.
Financial
They're like,
markets.
oh, it's got to be aliens.
Look at what's happening in the UK.
It's got nothing to do with hyperinflation and like everyone buying metals.
Okay,
Anyway.
so the thing, now that you guys are bringing that up, let me add this in, because this is something that I did want to pull up, and the whole thing about this is when it comes to the ESA, okay. Now, they also say that they have strategic drills and exercises that they participate in. Now, it says that Europe conducts large-scale international exercises to simulate responses to potential impact scenarios.
Yeah.
Okay, ensuring coordination between space agencies, military radar, and emergency responders. So if they have this kind of capability where they're simulating these things, what's to say that this object that we're looking at and that everybody thinks is out there isn't actually out there? It's just a simulation that's being pushed onto us.
Well, we've got a pretty robust detection system for, near misses or potential hits from cosmic objects. I can't remember the program's name though. But do you remember, like a few years ago, they did that test where they flew the satellite into a comet to try and deflect it? It was called the Mosquito Project.
No,
So I got a question for you guys. So, does a false flag wave in outer space?
yeah. Well, if you look at the old moon landings, no.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what you feel about the moon landings. Do you think they were real or were they faked?
Well, so I think so. Everybody has a piece of it. Everybody's right and everybody's wrong. We absolutely went to the moon. However, the footage that we were shown was not. They had some meetings with some entities up there. And no, of course we don't have any footage of that. So what we got was fake.
We do have footage of them sighting stuff out the window, though. Remember? And they had to like cut the feed at one point because they're like, "Oh, they're back," like we see these things driving around. And so yeah, I actually think that movie Iron Sky, where with the space Nazis and that. I think there's something to that movie. Like there's a facility on the dark side of the moon, and this actually comes into a little bit of what I was going to talk about. But yeah, I'll get into that in a little bit. But basically, yeah, I think there was, they did go up there, but they had to fake a bunch of the footage because they couldn't show it to the public because the real mission wasn't just like going to the moon, the real mission was finding out what the fuck is on the moon, because they already knew there was facilities up there. And so they made contact with whatever is up there. And but we'll get into that in a bit.
Now, initially referred to by the temporary designation A11P13Z, 3I Atlas, drew immediate attention from astronomers because of its peculiar motion. Rapid follow-up observations and reanalysis of previous data led to the preliminary conclusion that the object was not bound by the sun's gravity. That makes it an interstellar object, only the third ever seen after 1 Oumuamua in 2017 and 2 Borisov in 2019. If confirmed, it will be the third known interstellar object from outside our solar system that we have discovered, providing more evidence that such interstellar wanderers are relatively common in our galaxy. Now, 3I Atlas is the largest and brightest interstellar object yet, which means it can help scientists unlock clues about the formation of our solar system. And I do have the link for that article that I will put in the comment section for you guys if you want to check it out. Because I've got the other one for the Italian mafia up above it. So
Yeah.
that's the one that came from that Mr. Robot posted. The thing about it is though, it gets for my final says on that one is it does seem odd that these three objects are the only ones that they've seen. And previously, before that, everybody said that if a huge freaking object was to come towards the Earth, we would never be able to detect it in time to save ourselves. Now, miraculously, we're seeing these asteroids come into our solar system. I find that kind of odd, too.
It's more nuanced than that. It depends on their speed and size, right? Like some things go like freaking 30,000 kilometers an hour and they're tiny. You know, they're really hard to detect. But things that are really bright and big and slow, they're much easier to detect. So like some things they detect like 30 years before they're going to hit us. You know, there's a big list online you can look up.
Well, 30 years is 30 years is
never fucking saw them, you know.
30 years is a big difference, though. They were predicting Atlas, what, freaking months ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, at one time they were saying that we were completely blind, dude. There was no way that we could defend ourselves from a freaking impact. And now all of a sudden they're detecting these objects.
I think with Musk's rockets, we have a fighting chance now. Like he can put a rocket up in a day or two if he needs to. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think we've got a chance. Like as long as we can detect it within a week, maybe a few days, we've got a fucking chance at least.
I'm just gonna say like you know what my new motto is, and I found it. I don't buy it.
What do you mean?
I just don't buy it.
You don't buy what?
I don't buy the whole thing about them being able to detect it. I see it more as a possibility as a simulation. It's a psyop is what I'm seeing this as. A way to
man. So it's a long established project. I'm gonna look it up. It's gonna, you know, there's a database online you can look up with all of the things that detect it.
I mean,
I'm not saying they're definitely gonna miss stuff, but to say that they've never even looked is like that doesn't make any sense.
Well, what's his name, Hikaku or whatever? Like he even came on and made his commentary, and the weird part about that
Michikaku?
Yeah, Michikaku. Okay, and the weird part about him is, and I like him, but don't get me wrong about that. I do like him, but the thing that's weird about that is he's a transhumanist. Okay, and a lot of these people who have made comments about this are all transhumanists.
Yeah, well, don't believe them.
Yeah, well, it's true. You don't believe them because they want to make you into a cyborg, dude.
I'll get this. The project that I'm talking about is actually called Atlas, Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, a robotic survey system funded by NASA and operated by the University of Hawaii's Institute for Astronomy. It uses a network of 5 0.5 meter telescopes in Hawaii, South Africa, Chile, and Spain to scan the sky nightly, focusing on detecting smaller asteroids just days to weeks before they might impact Earth. That's one of the projects. It's not the only one. There's another one that is called Sentry and Scout Systems, which look for near-Earth object studies. NEO Surveyor, which is a planned space-based infrared telescope set to launch in 2027. So that's not up yet, but so there's a bunch of these programs that look for potential impact objects, you know.
Hmm. So,
But there have definitely been a few cases that I can remember where they missed it, or they only became aware of it when it got close to the sun, because that's when things light up usually and get like a bit brighter.
mhm.
Mm.
So since you guys have been quiet, what do you think about it, Mr. Robot or V and Mark Edworthy? What's your take on this? Do you think it's hot poppycock, or do you?
I think if you really want to know more about this kind of stuff, you have to understand what it's really for.
Mhm.
Okay, so I don't know. There's so many movies that have been done about this. You know, what alert are we truly going to get? I know the governments, they'll get their alerts. They'll be on top of it. However, what's that going to do for me? What's that going to do for you? There's so many of these continuation of continuation of government facilities. You know, AT&T got real excited to be deputized by the NSA. You know, there are so many governmental facilities sponsored by AT&T and other telecoms, and they're really getting down with the telecoms people, because I'm sure because of satellite cooperations and other things. But look at those continuations of government sites. They might have some strategically placed in certain areas to make sure that they're protected from certain impacts from a different direction. Maybe that they see something coming 30 years from now, 50 years from now, and they're not telling anybody. Um, you know, and these people already just want to wipe out most humanity, anyways. I think, uh, I think we shouldn't be so concerned about the detection systems, because they're just going to input whatever data that they need to and create a false flag. The hell, with a nuclear weapon, who knows? Just so they can start getting rid of some of us and create these zones where, you know, they huddle people up and treat us like cattle, right? Because we won't outnumber them so much anymore, and they'll have all the technology and powerful weapons, and you know, and you know, everywhere that it's going to go from that direction. So I think we need to be more concerned about uh, actually getting academics, more and more academics in the field of this stuff, because I mean we're in the dark ages of technology right now. Okay, we need to bolster the education. We need a renaissance of technology, because things are getting away from us right now. Things have gotten away from us. Nobody on this call can fabricate a cell phone if they wanted to. That's terrifying. Only the government corporations can. You know.
Say that again about cell phones, sorry?
That's
What'd
what
you
I was
say?
getting ready to say. Like, you know, I can do it, right? I mean,
You
I was doing that stuff with beepers back in the freaking '90s, dude.
you can make a cell phone,
Yeah,
a touchscreen Android phone right now.
yeah. I can actually
Yeah.
build one from scratch.
I think I've got an Orange Pi board, which has got a 4G.
Not a cell phone. You
I
guys
can
missing the point.
I
Not
can
a cell
do
I
it.
can make a crappy one, but I've got a few open source phones that run Linux.
You know,
It's doable.
it's you can do it. It's not gonna be like the actual company brand quality, but you can do
You
it.
don't want the company brand anyway. That's all fucking backboard and shit
How
now.
much money you want to spend on
Yeah.
it?
See,
Well,
you've walked into a freaking beehive, V. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no,
you
guys are totally
realize
missing the point.
you realize the talent that's in this room, right? These people, like I was making beepers back before freaking cell phones were even popular, and I learned that from a guy who went to DeVry. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Well, then I'll challenge you. Make me a freaking cell phone.
I can do it, but I don't want to freaking say anything over the internet about it.
I want you and Mr. Robot. I want a cell phone. Okay.
Oh, you want one?
I want one. Make me one.
Well,
Yeah. I mean, it's better to get one that's like, you know.
Okay. Well, then back to my
professionally
point. Back to my freaking
well,
point.
see, the thing is it's
Like,
it's not
have
really.
a look at ones that are like DIY, right? Online. They're big and they're clunky. It can be done with a Raspberry Pi and stuff
And
like that.
you've got projects like the Pine Phone and the Fairphone, which are user replaceable
Yeah.
internals.
But I've got a Librem phone, which is an open source Linux phone.
Only
You can get the
software.
Pine phone as well, which is open source.
Pine Phone.
They're much nicer to use than building one. Fuck that.
Well, I mean, when I say make a cell phone, I mean total fabrication. The wires, the chips.
Oh, that's
I mean,
ridiculous.
everything.
Now you're just
Okay, how
talking.
much money do I just put up
We're
there?
talking about
If you can make
fabricating
if
Go
you
back
guys
on
can
this
make
one.
a computer chip in your living room, I will come over there. I'll
That's just ridiculous.
slap you on the back.
$1,000,000.
I'll
You
buy
gotta
you a
realize,
bottle of vodka. I'll
our
slap
entire
you on the back.
civilization is built on not understanding how anything works. If we had to suddenly make everything from scratch, we'll be back in the Stone Age tomorrow. You know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, this is why there will be a major advantage over us, and we're just letting it happen. We're just letting everything go by the damn wayside. And with these corporations and these governments, they want to regulate what we can own. You know, just like, for example, like a laser pen. There's a certain there's laws regulating how powerful your laser pen can be.
Yeah, but that's full
Well, that's
safety.
kind of
Yeah.
fair enough. You can like take an airplane out of the sky with a good laser.
You could, but that would be our ability to fight back against a corrupt system.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you really wanted to do it, you can buy a diode from China and make your own laser. That's
Oh
fucking
yeah,
crazy.
I've watched 1,000 laser videos. I probably could make a laser right now.
But more importantly, like back in the day, you used to be able to get any kind of lab gear and equipment you want, any chemicals, and like, you know, just do your own alchemical experiments at home. And no one said shit. And now everything is so like locked up and regulated. It's like there's very little like homemade innovation these days. Like very little.
You know what really irritates me though?
It,
What really irritates me is the fact that freaking nobody even talks about the Anarchist Cookbook anymore.
Well, do you know there's a second Anarchist Cookbook?
Oh, that came out like in the 90s, didn't it?
You don't even know about the Anarchist Cookbook?
I think that book, if you owned it in the UK, digitally or print, and there was an investigation for you on certain crimes, that could be sufficient enough proof of having a suspicion of being connected to terrorism.
Yes.
So they can't enact on it itself, but it could go and get be an excuse for a police officer to get a warrant from a judge.
That's horrible. See, I mean that's really horrible.
Just for owning a copy.
Yeah.
And see,
In the U.S., I mean, yeah, the feds could harass you. They can watch you. They try to watch you, put surveillance on you, and try to scare the crap out of you. It's not illegal to own. God knows how many times I've downloaded it, but when I was a kid,
I only ever downloaded it because it was illegal.
Yeah, no, that was the only appeal. And I read it. It was like it wasn't that
impressive.
It was not impressive at all.
Yeah.
It's like half the stuff in there is like stuff, you know, kids would do just on their own, just going outside and hanging out. You know,
Yeah.
Well, that
It's so
was the whole premise of it. You know what I mean? Like today with what I've been talking about with my stories, how I'm creating Bibles for it with rules and stuff. Like they were doing this stuff back in the freaking 90s with computer programs manually instead of using AI. You know what I mean? It was like freaking you would turn around and it was a compilation of information that was put in there that had to do with like how you could do things illegally, and it was from the basics all the way up.
well, you know what? There are YouTube videos like that now.
Right,
Like it's a genre.
right.
So and but the second anarchist cookbook I thought was interesting. It was all about how to make acids and poisons.
hmm Now,
Um,
now
did you guys see this article about Bezos is copying Musk's Skynet? He's making his own Skynet called TerraWave, which is like gonna be for AI data centers and cloud services, so that it can like shoot data across the planet in space.
Has Richard Branson dropped out of the game? Remember back in the 90s and early 2000s, Richard Branson, or Sir Richard Branson, as it should be called
Wow.
now.
He's only a third, he's a pedo, right? Like, wasn't he like Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor or something like that?
That's crazy.
So
Jeffrey Epstein. Who cares
this
about
thing will be able
Epstein?
to do 6 terabytes per second
Yeah,
data uplink. That's pretty.
Okay.
that's the first thing that stuck out to me whenever I seen that. Whenever you pop
That's
that
good.
up. But we don't want to get into that because Mr. Robot has his theories about terabytes and millibytes. He doesn't think that they're real. They're fabricated.
Are we talking about pre-1999 EAC calculation or binary, decimal calculations?
And see, this is the reason
What you
why.
done now, Roger? You've started something.
That's what I was getting ready to say. It's like this is the reason why I say you belong with us weirdos because of that shit right there, dude. Like you start going down that direction, and the next thing you know, man, we're talking about calculations and shit. It's like you fit right in with the
Because
conversation.
most people will be bored by it, I think.
hmm Now, with that being said, let's
I was just
move.
looking up the latest articles in space news because this is like meant to be the headlines, right?
No, this is actually we've got better shit that's fucking crazier that we need to cover. Okay, this goes into your remote viewing crap. So let's move on to it.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's get into your remote viewing stuff. Okay.
All right.
So put
well-
your seatbelt on. This is where you shine, and you need to get freaking all prettied up. And
Think
freaking
about
sound-
how.
No,
we
hold
were
up. Let
just
me
talk-
let me put the topic up that you posted first, and then you talk about that
Oh, okay.
because this is good stuff here. Okay.
Can you share your screen? Can you share
No,
that?
I have talking points, and I'll just read it and let you do it. Do whatever the sharing is you want to do. But let me go ahead and do this. Okay. Now, according to Mr. Robot, everybody, remote viewing shows that it was clearly reptilian beings living underground that telepathically implanted visions into Moses and other prophets as an agenda to eventually control the planet. And as a reference, he used first Numbers 21:6 out of the Bible. And then he used Isaiah 6:2, which says, in the year that King Uzziah died, he saw the Lord seated on a throne, high and exalted, and the train of his robe filled the temple. Above him stood seraphim, each having 6 wings. With 2 wings they covered their face, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they were flying. and they were called out to another one another, and they said, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. All the earth is full of His glory." They weren't too kind to Isaiah. When it goes on further, it says, "Then I said, Woe is me, for I am ruined, because I am a man of unclean lips, dwelling among a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts." Then one of the seraphim flew to me, and in his hand was a glowing coal that he had taken with tongs from the altar. And with it he touched my mouth and said, "Now that this has touched your lips, your iniquity is removed and your sin is atoned for." It's kind of interesting that in that same area there are lots of myths of strange dragon-like creatures like Bel and Marduk, servant dragons, and stuff of that nature, is what he went on to say. And that's where he started getting into the Dragon of Babylon and things of that nature. Now, with that being said, I'm going to open it up, let Mr. Robot kind of give us a little take on what he was meaning by all this, because this is actually a pretty good topic. So,
Okay. Let me share my screen. Is that all right?
yeah, go ahead. I've got you up already.
Okay.
This gets pretty intense, actually. This is a pretty good comment or
Can you see my
topic.
screen?
Yeah, I can.
So, like you were saying, in Mesopotamia in the Middle East, there's a lot of different types of dragon mythology going way back into the ancient past. One of them is called Usumgalu. Was a lion dragon demon and one of the three horned snakes in Akkadian mythology, often associated with the gates of the underworld, right? Now, remember how Roger was saying these beings were living underground? Okay, now there's a lot of information that suggests that this is true, both in the ancient past and in the modern day. As an example, is the story of Phil Schneider. Do you guys remember Phil Schneider?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he basically, I'll get a picture up of him. Phil Schneider.
I used to
He was
have
a
one.
contractor that worked for the U.S. military to build deep underground bases. He was an engineer, and basically he came out and basically described to people how in this specific part of the U.S., actually not far from Zorro Ranch where Epstein lived, there's a U.S. base there, and they broke as they were digging down into this cavity. This cavity opened up. They broke into a space underground, and these aliens popped out. Some of them were like gray aliens, some of them were reptilian aliens, and they were basically like there was a huge battle ensued where they were like fighting these things, and one of them actually like blew Phil Schneider's hand off, and like
yeah, there was some sort of reactive ray that came out of the chest of one of the aliens and hit his hand.
See his chest is all fucked up. Let's see if we can get his hand, because like
They said that the guy that actually put him on the conveyor to go up was actually killed because he according to Snyder, he actually gave his life so that he could survive.
Yeah, that's right. And you can see his hand here. He says it's like that because he held his hand up to sort of block it, but this like energy beam came out of the chest of this gray alien and basically just shot his fingers off. And he's got the scars to prove it, basically. And man, I highly recommend anyone who hasn't listened to his story, go listen to all of his stories that survives, because they are insane. Like, and totally, like, you can tell he's a with it smart guy. Like,
Let me interject here. Just for those people who are not familiar with Snyder, I know I've done some investigation on this story. He tries to present a lot of evidence that. Well, I'll give an example. He has a father who was working with some military project, supposedly, and a high-ranking man, and he had pictures. He showed everybody pictures. However, at the time, to go along with the story, of the time period in which his father was doing these things, these secret projects with the government, he's got pictures of his father in a room with these people, but you can see there are objects that are out of place in the picture that didn't exist yet. So I
Like
kind
what?
of, huh?
Like what, for example?
Like a phone on the wall, and there was a certain kind of light picture up, for example, that just didn't, you didn't find those at that time period, in which he claimed. So his stories, as wonderful as
I
they
don't know. I've never
are,
seen the pictures of his father, but I've only watched like his conferences and stuff like that.
yes,
And
yes.
what I will say is, like, when I first listened to it, it was so out there to me that I just didn't think much of it since then. This was like 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, that I first heard about him. And it's always been sort of filed away in my mind somewhere. But about 3 years ago, these people that I follow in remote viewing actually did a remote viewing project on Phil Schneider's story. And just so people know, like, remote viewing is an investigation technique that you use by basically going into like a meditative state, and um, kind of like you're able to access information from anywhere in the universe. Okay, and people do it under complete blind conditions, and therefore, so the person who's investigating doesn't know what they're investigating. They can't make up a story. Okay, and yeah, like, they found out it was all true. And sure enough, there was reptilians exactly like he described. So that's when I started looking back at it again, because I'm like, well, if this is true, maybe there's something I missed. And I've gone back and listened to all of his speeches again, and it is pretty mind-boggling, actually, when you can actually grasp that information and understand like where that fits into reality, because it's one of the few cases in history where someone that deep into these projects have actually come forward and just fully blown the whistle. And he did get killed eventually, like, but he was a brave guy. He was a brave guy for coming out. But anyway, my point is that he spoke about these reptilian beings in the modern day living underground. Now, there's plenty of stories in the past as well that speak about these demons or devils or whatever underground, right? And even when I was traveling in India, I've heard local Indian stories also speaking about what are Naga sadhus,
But
which are these like reptilian
every culture
priests.
on the planet has,
Yeah.
myths that revolve around something of that nature. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
So
you also mentioned Bell and the Dragon. And the thing about that too is that actually is incorporated in as chapter 14 in the extended book of Daniel. And that's the original Septuagint.
I don't actually use that as a hard and fast example, because even in the Bible, that kind of got disproven, right? Because the priests were using the dragon as an excuse to go steal the offerings from the altar. But the only reason the king thought it could be real is because that was based on even older myths that incorporated dragon mythology. But it wasn't mythology to them, it was real because they experienced these dragons thousands of years ago. Okay. So in the time of Moses and before, these things were real. Freaking reptilian aliens came out of the sky and decimated entire civilizations. Okay. And this has been sort of verified with the remote viewing data. Okay. And here is an example I like to always refer to. This is in the Bible in Revelations 12:7. It's called the War in Heaven. And it says, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay, now where were they cast out from? They were cast out of the heavens, or AKA space, right? That's where this war was going on, in space. And they were cast out of space into the earth. Now, we don't know what that means, whether that means the surface of the earth or actually inside of the earth in like some kind of cave system or something, but that's what it says. And I hear a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. Mind you, this is before Jesus Christ. All right. So Christ means something else here. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. All right. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Yep.
All right.
This is in the beginning of Iron Maiden's story too. Just so you know, like.
Well, can I say?
Very clear. It says, "People who live in heaven and you who dwell there." So people living in space should rejoice because they've been able to defeat this devil or this serpent. Like literally, they call it an old serpent and a devil and Satan. So all those things are associated with the dragon, right? So they beat the dragon in space and threw it down to the earth. And basically, what they don't say but kind of allude to is like now the dragon is trapped here on Earth, right? Because otherwise it would just leave again into space. But space is rejoicing because now the dragon is karmically trapped here. Just
let me tell you. So the Big E, the Emperor of Mankind, he fought the Void Dragon and threw him right in the middle of Mars. Yeah, no, this story is everywhere. That's my point. So let me go ahead and just give you like a more Occam's razor sort of standpoint. So I'm not gonna say weird stuff. Ooh, wow, somebody's moving really hard. It's killing my ears.
Probably.
Okay. So I know there's weird stuff out there, and the truth is stranger than fiction. But you got to think we've had so many iterations of man on this planet. There's always the speculation of higher technology within our ancient ancestors. You know, dating back even before the pyramids, right? So, but we also have, you know, at any point in time, strange technologies could have been found. Okay. And these technologies could have been used to trick us or to mind control us. Okay. So that's why you have these priesthoods that would worship objects. And now I would say 99% of the time these objects are just a representation of what they used to really have. But like the stories of the Ark of the Covenant, okay? That thing killed people. That thing was nuclear, okay? And all this technology had religion revolving around it. But the best way to control a population is through a lie, imagery, illusion. So making everybody has a boogeyman in their culture. And these boogeymen were created to control society. Just like the mean old big brother that pops out of your closet wearing a demon mask. Okay? Uh, he's got your number. He's bigger than you, and he likes to scare the crap out of you. Takes your lunch money and throws food at you at the table. Okay? So this is the kind of people you have in your governments and in your churches. Okay, so they may have some top secret stuff. With my knowledge of remote neural monitoring that the NSA does, projecting movies into somebody's mind is rudimentary. Okay, it's so easy for them. They cast voices. They do visual audio hallucinations. Even Otto spoke on the early experiments with the microwave radiation. They gave the guy some LSD. The CIA gave some guys some LSD and stuck his head in the microwave, and he thought he was being abducted by aliens. So I think there's definitely symbology. I tell people all the time when they talk about the reptilians who control the government. I'm like, you probably shouldn't take that literally, because the people who are in control, yes, they fear and hate us, fear and hate, and they're controlled by their reptilian brain, because we all have three brains, right? The reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, the neocortex. So it's allegorical. It's just a metaphor. These reptilians who are in human form.
We get your point. We get your point. But my argument is 100% it's not a metaphor. Yeah, we use that as a metaphor to inform what we think of now, but it still does not account for all of these ancient stories that goes all over the world and all over the modern day.
Yes, it does. I just explained it. I just explained it. So there are these. There, I'll repeat. I will repeat myself. Hold on. I'll repeat myself.
No. Here's my question: where did the Ark of the Covenant come from? Do you really think they freaking designed that back in ancient times before the pyramids were even built? No, man. They got that technology from somewhere.
You don't know that.
Somewhere. What do you think? They just found it? You said they find technology. Where do they find it?
They're founded, or somebody came up with something.
A source of advancement. Technology is built upon.
Mankind has been on this planet various times over. We've been wiped out various times over. You don't know what the previous iteration had. You weren't there when the pyramids were built.
Well, what really gets me about a lot of this is like when you go back, you have to look at things like Bel. Okay, nobody ever talks about Bel. They talk about Bel and the Dragon, but you have to look at who Bel is. It's like Babylon was actually the freaking second, or I consider it the third kingdom. There was actually Samaria before it was invaded and conquered by the Akkadians. Then you had the Akkadians, and then finally you had freaking Babylon. Now Bel is like an amalgamation of Enki and Enlil added together to create Bel. And the story of Bel is that Marduk, who was freaking the actual head of the pantheon for the Babylonians, went against Tiamat and defeated Tiamat in battle, okay? And in order for him to do that, he had all of these gods gather together, okay? And they all agreed that if Marduk battled Tiamat and defeated him, that they would give all of their powers over to Marduk. And Bel was the one that brought this offer to them and had them gather together. Now, this is all Babylonian story, okay? There's a lot of people who believe that frickin' this isn't just related to the Sumerians and the Babylonians. They're actually talking about aliens from outer space who were involved in all of this. Like, these were actually alien beings who were doing this back in the day when that was taking place during that time period.
Like, that story is so comes up so many times over and over again in the ancient past. Even when you read Plato's story of Atlantis, at the end of the story, it says literally the gods are up in space and they're deliberating about what they should do about these humans who are getting out of control. And literally, as that story ends, is where history begins. And that's when that big comet hit the planet and wiped out civilization at the end of the last ice age. And so if you tie these stories together, it's happened again in Egypt, where there was an advanced civilization rising in Egypt from the first kingdom. And then it all got wiped out during the first intermediate period, which is, 2100 BC, and literally wiped out entire Egypt. And then what happens? You get the Ogdode, a whole new pantheon of gods that have reptilian heads. Okay? This is what they look like. And this story is echoed through not just Egyptian mythology, but also through Gnostic mythology, where they also have the Ogdode. And I just keep seeing
the archons
popping up over and over again.
Yeah.
And when you look at these beings, they literally draw these things on rocks, and you can see these things. To me, they look like reptilian aliens. I don't know about you, but and on top of that, look at these guys like Ptah. He has this rod that looks like a piece of technology that shouldn't be there, right, in the ancient past, like you said.
Doesn't it?
And so for me, you could explain it away as we just got really advanced in the past and they got wiped out. But
I liken it to the Wizard of Oz, okay? The man behind the curtain.
Well, just look at the amount of UFO sightings that we get today, right? And these congressional hearings on UAPs, UFOs. Do you really think it's all the government?
I think.
Don't you think it's at least possible that there is a whole universe full of beings out there, just like the Bible says, and we've
absolutely
just started to understand this.
When you're talking about these head these, remember too that you also mentioned the Mishushu, I believe is what it was. It's the leopard looking freaking no, actually there was a whole bunch of them that was actually in the.
They often describe it as a serpent mixed with a lion.
Yes.
That's the ancient Sumerian way of describing a dragon or something like that.
Well, if you mentioned Gnosticism, so you have Yaldabaoth.
Mm-hmm.
The demiurge.
Well, you remember the dog, the funny looking leopard that was on the Babylonian wall, right? The walls of Babylon. It's always depicted whenever you
wizard looking dudes, right? They could levitate stones, and literally the beginning of the pyramid was this guy putting a staff in the ground, and just energy burst in every direction. And then shortly after that, there was a workforce of cloned humans. They said they looked exactly the same, and they had this face mask technology stuff on to help them breathe in the dust and whatnot. but they were basically the ones that did like the initial labor force, and the being that was looking after them was like a mantis-like insectoid-looking thing, and the insectoid mantis were actually a worker for the reptilians, and so
So this
yeah,
a branch or a different version of the Anunnaki
from
story.
what I gather is like, all right, so they figured out the reptilians, or they call themselves the Draco, are a huge empire that stretches from Andromeda, the next galaxy over, to half of this galaxy, and like they're massive empire, right? And the Earth is kind of like right on the outskirts of this empire, and it's kind of like a nothing planet, really, in the scheme of things. It used to be for something else, and now when they took it over, they turned it into a soul prison, where the way it works is like normally you'd incarnate here, you'd learn stuff, and you'd ascend and you would leave, but because of this technology they've put around the planet, when you travel out of your body after you die, you actually hit this like electric grid that they've put around the planet, and when you hit it as a soul, it wipes your memory and you reincarnate back on the planet again. So instead of leaving, you just keep reincarnating. I think that's what the Buddhists called samsara, where it's the endless cycle of life and rebirth, right? Death and rebirth. And but yeah, so what these remote viewers found out is it actually is a tangible piece of technology that can be turned on and off, that can be destroyed, but it's being kept in place for a long period of time.
No, see, I posted.
I'm not going to use that as evidence because these remote viewers can be highly manipulated. Just simple microwaves of the brain.
No, I wanna add something. Hey, hold up. I do want to add something that Willie Lee posted up that was actually good for this topic because I knew it was going to come here. And earlier I posted some stuff up on Teams, and he posted something that I thought was pretty interesting that needed to be brought up that pertains to this. And have you guys ever heard of the Horatia book? Or
you mean the blue book?
The Horatia Papers?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The Apocalyptic Revelation.
Wasn't it?
Now, this was a spiritual or philosophical.
Well, supposedly it's like the first book ever, and it has like all the universe's knowledge in it.
Yeah, it originated out of Chicago back in sometime between like 1924 to 1955. Now, the text claims to have been composed by celestial beings that introduces the word Horatia as the name of the planet Earth. And it states that its intent is to like present in large concepts and advance truth. Now, the book aims to unite religion, science, and philosophy. Okay, its large amount of contents are on topics of interest to like science, and it has documents that are said to have been received from, like I said, celestial beings. Now, they also have other topics where the book discusses the origin and the meaning of life and then mankind's place in the universe, the history of the planet and their relationships between God, people, and also they mention the life of Jesus. So it's really interesting that this book doesn't get very much notice when it comes to this conversation, and I've been always hinting on this whole idea of a group that's trying to create a one world religion, and this is something that really sticks out to me, where I personally believe that there's actually people who are trying to create a one world religion where everybody
of course
believes.
Why not? They want a one world government, they want a one flag, one people, everyone turns into a grey goo with one religion. But from what I've seen them talking to the aliens, they don't want us to worship them. They don't want us to have a religion per se. They want us to stand up for ourselves and like understand how the universe works. And but I do think the Gnostics actually got pretty close in the sense that if you think of the, you know, the Satan type character or the reptilian, I would call it, character, as the demiurge, all right, then what I was saying before makes sense, where they use the planet as like a trap, or you know, and that's what the Gnostics said as well. The Gnostics said the material world is a trap for the soul, and you know, we get convinced that all of the stuff that we experience in the physical is so important, when really beyond that there is so much more. And I think that is actually pretty close to the truth.
Mr. Robot, I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you said something that was I found to be very interesting in your perception of this. You think the Earth's gravity and possibly the magnetic field is what keeps our souls trapped on the planet? Or does that have anything to do with it?
I don't think it's gravity per se, but I think it's a plasma grid that is outside of our normal perception. And the reason I say that is because I met a guy. He's from the Torres Strait Islands. He's a native island boy, and he had a death experience once where he basically, his heart stopped, he died, and they revived him on the operating table. And he said, he was telling me the story, and this is before I mentioned any of this to him. He told me the story where his soul or his spirit was floating out of his body up above the planet. And he said when he could see the entire planet below him, he looked up and there was just a grid going all the way around the planet. And I'm like, that's when all this clicked to me. I'm like, holy fucking shit, that's real. Because like
prison planet.
Yeah, man. And so, and it also explains why like some people can have past life regression, or like remember their past lives, and most people can't. You know, I think there is a way to actually avoid the traps. They call them the death traps, and actually get past this grid. And in fact, I have figured out where some of the facilities are that's run by these ETs. One of them is underground in Mongolia. One of them is like in Africa. And they basically maintain the grid. Okay. One of them is off planet as well. But these guys, see, with remote viewing, once you know what you're looking for, you can go and look at it. So they've basically investigated how this death trap system works, and it's pretty damn interesting. Like watching it, there's these souls are almost like batteries as well. Like it's got sort of like a Matrix vibe to it. So,
yeah, that's Gnosticism. Yeah. Well, that's Sethian Gnosticism, yes.
But anyway, what I want to know is, I want to get enough people woken up to this so we can go and fucking destroy these facilities. You know, it can't be that hard. A few bunker busters, Bob's your uncle, and we could like set people free here. You know.
Well, these continuous government sites are not just these dormant bunkers. I believe they're actively being used.
Yeah, and there's quite a lot of like. What do you call it? Working together, interaction between human secret military and alien military underground. They did show like in the bottom levels of Area 51, there was like levels where there was just reptilians working on like genetic experiments and stuff. But a lot of the levels above that, the people had no idea they were even there. So,
right.
Yeah.
But isn't that true about like the entire thing of everything? There's so many levels and nobody's aware of each other.
Yeah. Why would you be, right?
Yeah.
But But yeah, there was a whole level just with like crashed alien craft, and they were like reverse engineering them on that level. There was another level
Absolutely.
that was just like biological experiments. Um, it was basically like a skyscraper going down underground.
Basically, yeah. And they're all over the United States, all over.
Mm.
We even have some co-ops with some other countries. We have not just upground. See, the importance of the military bases around the world, it's not just political. It's to deal with the alien situation as well. Yeah, and they know where these things are. That's part of the chemtrail thing. When they have the nanoparticulates lacing the neural cortexes of a breathing creature, they know where it is. Well, Trump is screwing up, isn't he? Come on, this is headlines.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Okay.
That's nothing new.
I feel like retards are going to be doing retarded shit.
Well, they already have AIs doing that. The shooters, as I told you, the NSA has remote neural monitoring, which does also have synthetic telepathy, and they have AIs running this. They don't have people sitting on microphones talking to people through a radio connection. No, this is an AI that talks to people, and it looks like schizophrenia. And so, yes, absolutely. They have AIs doing this. It's not very smart. It's more like a Turing chat box, like Alan Turing chat box. But because it has a narrative, it has to push you to do something. When I was getting it, they wanted it was the government saying, "Oh, we want you to come back and work for us. We want you to come back and work for us." And I was going to do it. Yeah. Colonel Michael Aquino, yes. Yes. Uh-huh. It's a psyop. So if you have a synthetic connection, telepathy connection with somebody, you got microwaves, you've got everything, even microwave hearing, radio frequency hearing, called the Frey effect. You can make someone think that they're reading someone else's thoughts. You can make someone have a hallucination to make them think anything. These people can come back with intel that's not correct, but it's what they've been fed, and it's what they're supposed to collaborate. And so it so Michael Aquino, also an expert in mind control. Okay, let's put that out there first. So you want to talk about psychic battalion? These people don't want anybody to be psychic. They don't want anybody using these tricks because there's too many government secrets out there. However, they will fool people into thinking that they're psychics. There are people out there who think they're actually mediums. And I know the stuff does exist. It does exist. But more often, 9 times out of 10, it's not real. It's manipulation.
I disagree.
You can disagree, but this is my experience.
I think Psychic,
isn't research. This is my
psychic
experience.
ability is just like natural ability. It's the same thing. We just call it psychic because it's rare, right? It's literally another sense,
Well, we
just
call
like
it psychic
sight
because
or
from the mind.
smell or empathy or whatever. It's just a different sense that we have forgotten how to access easily, right? Because we don't use it in our natural daily lives. But it's a natural ability that we all have. Okay, otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it, right? So I think we're all psychic. Forget about that. We're all psychic. We're just different levels of ability to train it, or like different natural ability with it. But anyone can be trained to be psychic. It's not a special thing. And
Well,
yeah,
a paraplegic person can have legs, but it doesn't mean they can run.
But they have the ability to run. It's just they haven't.
They can't.
They haven't tried it.
Right. I'm sure a paraplegic person has tried to walk.
Here's my point, B. Every baby has legs, right? They all start by crawling, and then they can't run yet. But over time, as they learn how to use their legs, they learn how to run.
I'm not going to debate that.
Really good at
I am not going to debate that. However, my point is that ability is being suppressed. And people who think they have it are being fooled.
Like fluoride in water is an example.
Right.
Giving people lots of calcium for breakfast is an example.
Well, see, that crosses with me too, though, because like when everybody brings up this fluoride, I was just talking to Mark the other day about this. It's like you can't tell me that freaking fluoride is an issue when you're willing to take DMT to freaking have a spiritual experience. That just doesn't, that kind of counteracts the whole thing.
See, you don't understand how the physiology works, Roger. That's why
you're putting a foreign substance. You're putting a foreign substance into your body in order to freaking get an effect, which is the same exact thing. Because like spiritually, a person can do these things without any kind of drug-induced freaking substance within their body. I do believe that it could be done possibly, but you don't have to have those drugs to freaking induce it. And psychedelics, okay, you're literally abusing your body by putting this shit into your freaking body.
Yeah, I know your opinion, Roger, but
that's fact. That's not opinion. That's not opinion. That's fact. Okay, you are literally introducing an alien substance into your body that is damaging your body. There is nothing natural about doing that.
No, yeah, there is actually.
Depends on who you are.
Willing to listen?
From the mind of a drug addict who freaking uses DMT, that is something.
Let's just go and demonize someone that you don't understand. Good work, Roger.
No, I'm just.
Let me explain the physiology to you. All right, because the reason that we don't all have the ability to spiritually interact with the universe is because we drink fluoride from day one. What that is fluoride has a really strong affinity to calcium, right? And what happens to the pineal gland when you reach puberty? It becomes calcified because the blood in the calcium in your blood no longer has any bone to pack onto, so it packs onto your pineal gland, right? Which is the gland in your body that secretes what? DMT. Okay, and it does that naturally every night when you go to sleep, when you dream. That's partly because of DMT. All right, so to say it's unnatural is wrong.
Now hold up. To get the effects that you're talking about. No, hold up. To get the effects that you're talking about when it comes to having these spiritual experiences, that's not straight up using DMT. That's a mixture of other combination of things that creates the effect you're looking for. DMT doesn't create that vision that you have when you take it. Okay, that is a natural part of the brain, but the effect that you're looking for does not come naturally from having DMT in your body. It's when you put these other things into it.
Got it. So let me get between you two here. So the whole fluoride and the calcified pineal gland is absolutely true. I covered it in one of my documentaries. However, that is you have a connection with the universe through your pineal gland. And I'll just be vague about that. I don't want to give it too many names because it'll get politicized and overspecified, and nobody will agree on anything. So I'll just say that there is a connection that we have with the universe through our pineal gland. It does get calcified. However, the DMT, you know, these people have these spiritual experiences. They do have these hallucinations when they die.
Yeah.
You got people having these experiences when they want to get choked out when they're getting raw dogs from behind. You have these people that have these experiences, just near-death experiences. These hallucinations, people disassociate. They can call upon this chemical in their brain, depending on the trauma. It's a trauma chemical.
Mm-hmm.
Help us to get through trauma. So, you guys are both right. You're arguing at each other.
Well,
Let me
we
just
do
finish what I was
that
saying.
when
So,
we have these
the point I'm
conversations.
trying to make is, you know, like you said, you might be looking for something out of DMT, but DMT is going to give you what you need at the time. It's not, you can't force DMT to do anything. It's going to give you what you need. And so all you can do is strap in and hope for the best. But I see it more like, you know, for someone that's grown up on a planet that's trying to like nullify and stupefy your spiritual senses.
Yes.
It's useful sometimes for someone to get a little bit of a taste of it through, you know, entheogens like DMT, which, mind you, isn't synthetic. It's naturally extracted from trees. And you know, getting a little bit of a sense of what we're capable of, because if you've never experienced it, you can't even come close to grasping what we are capable of as a human naturally. Yeah, I agree with you. It is our natural receptor sites in our brain that actually allows us to experience these things. We have the circuitry for it, but sometimes it helps to get it initiated by a plant in order to just like become aware of it. Because only once you're aware of it can you start to you become a seeker of that truth, you know, and then you're basically an initiate into the mysteries of the universe. And from there you can go and explore and try to like do it naturally. But I still
that's the
give
path
a
of
lot
the
of
shaman.
credence for
I agree.
that.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I agree. The whole shaman thing. So the government had put a war on us, as you said, Mr. Robot. We're in a world where our senses are being dulled. There's so many people that want us asleep. It's not even funny. I understand the establishment is terrified of us because there's so many of us, and their greatest fear is to lose control. And so they will do anything in the world to try to control us. And so you have these the war on the people. See, people talk about the war on drugs. It wasn't a war on drugs. It was a war on the people, because
It was a war on consciousness as
it was a
well.
war on consciousness. That's what I'm saying. So instead of having these enlightened moments, because you know they found that when the CIA was doing these LSD mind control experiments, they found that instead of getting more control over people, they had more disassociative effects socially. They became free spirits. And so it had the opposite effect of what they wanted, which is why they
Isn't
phased
it
it out.
interesting how, as the Vietnam War broke out, the counter mechanism to that was the release of LSD into the population, and the hippie era and the freedom era and the free love era breaking out.
Exactly.
And there was an explosion of like creativity and love and stuff like that. And,
exactly.
Now, I also there's
So,
something
let me
else.
finish.
Hold up.
I'm
There's
almost
something
done.
else that Vietnam that nobody ever brings up, and this is something that's important that goes along with that. Now, Ancient Orange. Okay, everybody's always talking about Monsanto. Okay, and like nobody ever realizes that Monsanto was also involved in the creation of Ancient Orange during that time period.
Okay.
And
Well,
that actually does fit into it, because a lot of people don't connect that to what's taking place when it comes to abusing our freaking the way we think and the way we feel. Like Ancient Orange was a pretty horrific thing during Vietnam. Because I know you guys aren't really old enough to understand that. You know what I mean? Because Vietnam was a serious issue to a lot of the older people before my generation.
Okay, but hold on. I wasn't done with my point. Before we
Well,
get
I
to
mean,
Iraq,
no, I mean,
hold on.
I know what you're saying, dude, but I'm saying that's
No.
that's a very
You
important
no.
thing to be bringing up because, like,
Okay, well, let me finish my point first, and then you can tie it on.
but no,
I'm telling
it's
you,
not
out of
tying it
this.
on. It's like this is actually something that should be going on, but like
Okay, so
leading
my
into
point
this
being-
whole thing.
My point being is that you had this war on the conscience on the people, and it's the point being is that shamans, for example. Let me finish telling the story. Shamans, like Native American culture, for example, these people were tasked to look over the village. They can live inside the village. They have to live outside the village because they have to have an outer perspective. This is why the you had the herbal medicines and things like that. Okay, but another job of the shaman, who is a biochemical warrior at this point, goes into the tribe and they will point out the fact that they might have a psychopath or two in their tribe. Now, they would either kill these psychopaths or limit their ability to gain power. This is what kept government and corporate mentality in check. So, it's a war on shamanism. It's a war against the psychics. It's a war against the shamanism. It's a war against everybody who is not a part of the status quo underneath their control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all I wanted. I just wanted to finish.
Now, the reason why I was bringing up the whole thing about that was also, see, a lot of this also leads into, like, you guys have heard of the story about the serpent and the rainbow, right? Okay, about Hades.
Serpent and Rainbow.
Yeah, about the freaking zombie drug.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. There's some of that stuff around.
Now, all that ties into what we're talking about as well as freaking Monsanto and Agent Orange and things of this nature. The government has been doing research on this stuff, okay, for quite a long time. Now, when it comes to shamanism and DMT, yeah, that's natural, okay. But my whole point is like, the first time me and Mr. Robot had this conversation, freaking, we had a pretty good conversation, and I furthered it by going and doing more research into it. And the additives that they're putting into this homemade lab concoction compared to what the shamans do is very, very volatile. They put things in there like you wouldn't believe. They add things that freaking goes into freaking fuel for freaking rockets and shit. You know what I mean?
No, wait up.
Yeah.
I've actually got a bit of experience with this.
Yeah, I know you do.
This is simply like a way to extract stuff, and this has also been done since ancient times. I mean, that's how tinctures are made, right?
No, dude, you know what I'm talking about. They put stuff in there that freaking you don't even want. You don't put that shit in your garage, dude.
The thing is, the stuff they use is 100% you can dry it out, right? It is volatile for a reason so that you can boil it off so it disappears into the atmosphere. You don't want it left in there. That's not how it works. You can't smoke that. This is simply so that the modern way to do it.
It's okay because you don't smoke it. Is that what you're saying, dude?
Like acid base extractions using a solvent is like pretty well established science. Like we use it all the time.
They've got
our medicines.
They got regulations for freaking factories saying that this is the way that you handle this stuff, and if you don't handle it, we're gonna close you down because it hurts people. Okay, I've gone through everything on those lists, and there's like two things that are actually safe.
I can tell you what they mostly use. They use for the acid in the base, they use sodium hydroxide for the base, and they use tartaric or citric acid for the acid. You don't want to use an acid like hydrochloric acid that's too strong because it'll break down the DMT. And then to because what happens is when it's basic, it can't go into water. It becomes hydrophobic, right? So it floats on top of the water. And then what you can do is you add a solvent, a non-polar solvent, which then soaks it up. And a non-polar solvent can't mix with water, right? So it separates naturally. And then once it's in the solvent, you can actually separate off the solvent and dry it out. And then you're just left with the crystals, okay? You don't actually like leave the solvent in there or anything. You purge it out. And then you're just left with the alkaloids of the plant. All right. They do the same thing for cocaine and other.
I was going to say, this sounds more like meth or something.
It's actually
meth is synthetic. You're talking about cocaine as an
cocaine?
Extract.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a synthetic. Okay.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, when you're talking about Monsanto, what came up for me is like, this is just another part of the assault of humanity that went forward, which after these corporations like Monsanto couldn't make money off the war anymore, they decided to go into agriculture because that just keeps perpetuating it. And like Europe had like basically organic farming until like 10 years ago when Monsanto came in with their lobby groups. And they're like, no, we need Roundup in Europe, you know, so we can spray Roundup on all our grains. Yay. And Europe's like, nah, man, we've been doing this for 1,000 years just like this. We don't want Roundup. And then they tried to bring it in. Europe said no. A few years later, the lobby, they're like, okay, let's just try it for a year. And then like they put Roundup in Europe for a year. A lot of people got sick. They said no again. And then a few years later, Roundup got put back in, and now they've got Roundup. So
now
that's Monsanto for you.
Now that we've said our piece, I want to hear Mark Edworthy when it comes to this whole stuff about Europe and Monsanto. What do you think, Mark? Because you've been.
I'm trying to remember as all of. I think it's technically banned in the EU, but it's allowed in the UK. And it's allowed in Netherlands, Norway, I think.
Now that's something that I wanted to point out because like that is an issue that needs to be talked about. A lot of people don't understand when you talk about attacking us, you're talking about attacking us in our food sources too. I mean, you can talk about the fluorides all you want, dude, but they're even doing it in our foods. They're doing it, especially in the dairy products that they're selling in the grocery stores. Like, when you go in there and you see freaking all that freaking stuff in the milk section. Okay.
Well, yeah, fluoride affects everything. The bread, because any food that requires water, that's all food, is going to be affected. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, the UK and the EU have stronger health food regulations, and a lot of what you eat would be illegal in UK.
Oh, let's not be taking pot shots at the United States anymore, Mark Edworthy. Mr. England has the best bread in the world.
Eventually.
That's okay. We have guns.
Oh,
okay.
That doesn't impress Mr. Edworthy.
Guns, boys.
Now, are you? Nah, and the reason why I had to bring that up and get it serious about that was because Mr. Robot's the one who's the Mr. DMT pro when it comes to a lot of the stuff. He loves to do research on that stuff, and
I'd like to try it one day.
Well, the thing of it is he likes to pussyfoot around with stuff, so I have to like bust his balls so he'll actually freaking say stuff that's important. Because a lot of the stuff that does go into that stuff is very, very volatile, and I've been waiting to kind of like bring that up so we could discuss it. Because the last time we were talking about how the brain's affected by freaking using these things inside of our brain, like the serotonin and the dopamine and stuff. It's actually was a really, really good episode that we did. But then later on, I wanted to do more research into the actual chemicals that they use to mix into it, and I found out a lot of stuff that's pretty disturbing. If I had to suggest to anybody using DMT, I would go the natural route, the way that the shamans do it, because, like Mr. Robot said, it's in everything. You can find DMT in trees. You can find it anywhere. You know what I mean?
It's the chemical of life.
Right. So
Yeah.
I
There you go.
and he actually did a pretty good job tonight. But I do have to say, if it was me, I would recommend staying away from that whole laboratory setup, because I've heard people doing some crazy shit. They're using freaking strychnine to freaking cut this shit, dude. You know what I mean? They're using some really, really crazy stuff. So,
Wait, in the processing or the actual?
yeah,
It's as cut.
in the actual manufacturing of it.
Okay.
Okay, like they don't just you have DMT, like Mr. Robot said, that's naturally produced within your brain, but it doesn't give
Right.
you the freaking the effect you're looking for, because when you're doing the DMT, you're wanting to freaking see these entities that are supposed to be freaking like universal. When you go into an experience supposedly where freaking you're in a reality where everything is makes sense. You understand the universe, basically. You know what I mean?
Well, actually, that's a point that I would like to know what Mr. Robot thinks about, like those entities, the machine elves, the Joker, there's these all kinds of these entities that seem to be, I don't want to say universal, but commonly experienced or described as such in these individual experiences.
I call them consciousness, like different forms of consciousness. He calls them entities, though. So
Mm.
what?
Oh, so you think it's our consciousness fractured, right?
Well,
Or
that's the way the consciousness is set up. Okay, a lot of people
yeah.
don't realize that. Like, we don't have like a memory bank in our brains. Okay, it's all freaking fractured, um, fractured parts of our freaking memory, basically, and the brain has to pull different fragments from different parts of our brain to create a memory. All right.
Mhm.
And it pulls from different areas of the brain in order to do that. So from the beginning, what you call a memory is actually fractured bits and pieces that are assembled together by the brain.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
The memory isn't localized to one area.
Right.
It's stretched over the brain like a network.
Exactly. So
It's like a hard drive, magnetic field,
Mhm.
just bits and pieces of coded information trapped on a spinning disk. In this case, it's our brain.
Well, even there though, like, you have to ask yourself, because there's a lot of people who've gotten into this, and this is where freaking the whole goats thing comes into play. Like, do you believe that the brain is, like, do you think consciousness is localized within the brain, or do you think that our brain is like a freaking receiver and a transmitter that receives consciousness and then transmits it back out?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's another thing that a lot of people have been discussing, and
Well, I think about that question though. Is my brain giving you consciousness? Is my brain giving
is
Donald
consciousness
Trump consciousness?
is consciousness something that literally floats in the cosmos, and you just tap into consciousness?
Can we stop some people from tapping into the consciousness, like Trump, maybe?
The Akashic records is, for example, a lot of people talk about the Akashic records, and that's actually a freaking, not even from Egypt. Like, everybody talks about Egypt and the Akashic records being hidden underneath the pyramids. That actually comes from freaking the Orient. You know what I mean? That's actually a Buddhist Hindu kind of belief system right there. That has absolutely nothing to do with freaking Egypt whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
But
Well, I keep trying to steer this over to Trump. When are we gonna talk about Trump?
I just want to say one thing about the consciousness question. I like to describe it like when you think of a computer, you ask like, where is the thinking happening? Is it happening on the computer or is it tapping into something else that's doing the thinking? And the answer is both, because you have the CPU on the computer that does the localized processing, and you also have the computer tapping into the cloud that have like much larger servers that are doing other thinking. Okay. So that's kind of how I see it. It's like it's both. You know?
Now, what about you, Mark? What do you think about all that craziness? Is it poppycock? He fell asleep.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, crazy.
It's crazy. I figured you would think that way. So now this whole thing about Trump, you guys, you want to get into that?
Sure.
Okay, so V's the one who said he wanted to talk about all this crazy stuff that Trump did. So let's open it up with V's take on this stuff. What did you have to say that from last night, V, about Donald Trump and what's going on? Now he's falling asleep too. You're on mute, by the way.
I think he's just stepped away, maybe.
Yeah, he's wondering what's going on. Yeah, he probably did step away. So, what's your guys' take on a lot of the things that's been going on here lately? We've actually gotten into like a really crazy conversation about Venezuela with Donald Trump, and it actually I was really surprised the other night.
Did you see how he admitted about using the energy weapons?
Oh yeah. The thing that really surprised me about all of this stuff is like he decided he's just going to do it as like an experiment. He's not even going to put boots on the ground, you know. Like I said, I've been kind of split on the whole thing with Venezuela because yeah, I've had my issues with like us doing stuff with Iraq and Iran and all of that stuff, because mostly that's from freaking way across the freaking the world.
Yeah, that's outside of the Monroe Doctrine, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But like here with Venezuela is something that seriously does need to be. It needs to be freaking addressed, you know. So I'm kind of stuck in between that.
Well,
me too, because I am not one for intervention.
Democratic elections in the foreseeable future, then all ends well.
Well, I don't see that happening though, because like if they don't put boots on the ground, then freaking nothing's going to be done. Like Donald Trump only did this as like he figured he'd do his missile attack like he did on Iran and everything would be fine, and he doesn't understand that's not how it works there. Like that's not gonna
work in this situation.
I stepped away for 1 second, and then now we're on Trump.
Yeah.
All right. What was going on?
You just stepped away whenever we were getting ready.
Is anybody affected by ice? No, I'm not just talking about the crappy weather.
Well, ice. No, rain. A lot of rain.
Well, so they got this kid, right? Trump's administration, Trump's goons, his ICE agents, grabbed a small child, 5-year-old child, kidnapped him, to try to bait his supposedly illegal father.
Yeah.
The father took off. What kind of crap is going on right now?
I saw a follow-up on that, and it's actually been misreported.
It's being misreported. That's what they're saying. Yes, I know. But I don't believe it.
But you know what they say the real story is, right?
Well, tell us.
Well, I only saw this on InfoWars like last night or whatever, and I did see like it became like a big liberal talking point or whatever. And they said
By the way, first off, where are you watching InfoWars at? On the website?
Rumble.
Rumble? Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Rumble's got a 24-hour feed on there, and but anyway, so they said like the mother wouldn't accept the child back. Basically, ICE somehow got in custody of this child, and they tried to give it back to the mother. The mother said, "No, I don't want it," because she was afraid the child would get deported with her. I guess she wanted the child to stay. And then they didn't have anywhere to put the child, so they gave it to the father, who got put in a detention facility. So the father and the kid had to be put in the detention facility together.
So and they scared the crap out of the mother to take the child. In other words, you got to think about these people, who they are, what they're doing. They're tearing people apart, families apart. They're messing with American citizens.
No, they're not American citizens. They're illegal immigrants. That's why they're trying to deport them. They came in illegally.
These two people. I'm saying ICE, the whole thing. I'm not. They're messing with everybody.
No, they're not. Well, do you know of any incidents where they're messing with American citizens?
Yeah, actually, they've
been.
They,
dude, are you not watching the news?
Hold on,
mistakes can happen.
Not these aren't mistakes. They're actually pulling. They're pulling school kids out of freaking school, dude, with ICE.
Schools. Yeah.
Okay.
Not just people's homes, their schools. The first.
Yeah, but they're foreign kids, right? They're illegal.
No, not everybody. So let me give you an example here. When this all started, when they hit Chicago, the first thing they did was hit up the projects.
Yeah.
An entire apartment building complex vacated to get five warrants on American citizens. American citizens. They arrested 5 Americans who had warrants, and the people.
What for though? What for though? Because they were probably harboring illegals. You know.
No.
I remember there was a case of one girl. She had an illegal boyfriend and shit.
That's fine.
And you know, hold up. Let me point.
There's a million examples.
That was never
in this particular case.
The boyfriend thing was never verified. There's nothing that backs that up whatsoever. Like saying that she got arrested because she harbored a illegal boyfriend. That's complete conjecture.
No, she didn't get arrested. She got pulled over.
Yeah, I know. I seen the video, and it's like I told Nancy. I was like, "There's nothing incredible news, freaking, that actually says that's true." You seen that on Alex Jones, okay? You seen that on freaking all these nationalists, freaking.
No, well, I mean, they never said she got arrested.
She got pulled over. And they made claims that it was because she had a freaking illegal boyfriend, and that freaking she wouldn't comply. They wouldn't even give her. No, they wouldn't even give her a chance to show her freaking ID, man. Okay.
Bullshit.
No, she
had to verify.
I actually seen the freaking footage, dude, okay? And she freaking, they literally pulled her out of the car, drug her to the side of the road, and she tried to give them her ID, and they wouldn't even let her show her own freaking ID, dude.
Yeah, but they would have checked it later on. Okay. When do the cops ever hold someone without getting an ID? Yeah.
I've seen that footage though. That's complete. But the story they're giving on that is complete bullshit. Like,
well, okay. If I can finish what I was saying before I forget. Okay. So to answer his question more thoroughly, so this apartment building complex where they got the 5 people who are American citizens, just black people with warrants. Anybody else who had code violations of their apartments were also kicked out of their homes. How they legally were, I mean, they just got exposed to the entire world. These are people in the slums. These are poor, broke black people. Why are you shaking down poor, broke black folks? And that, again, that was the point.
Right, that's not how it works. Like, if there's a police operation happening in a building where there could be gunfire happening, of course they're going to clear civilians out of there. That's just normal standard protocol. Like, why would you keep them there and put them in danger? Like,
But okay, so
do you
say
think really,
think
like,
about what
being
you said.
hassled out of your
Think
house
about
is that bad compared to like getting shot?
when
Like,
the whole shakedown was illegal. You're totally missing the point. This whole thing was illegal. They went in there for false pretenses that they're looking for illegals when they were in fact not, because they found none. To go and do that level of a shakedown, you have to have
what's the
kind
real
of
reason
evidence.
then?
You have to have some
What's the
kind
real
of
reason?
evidence.
Well, housing for them to kick all those people out, that means the housing authority had to have been there to frickin' actually see the apartments and then turn around and say, look, you've gone against the frickin' guidelines, then you're out of here, because that's how it works, okay? And that's what he's trying to say. Frickin' why is housing authority there with the police force going into these apartments and saying, you gotta go, you gotta go, you gotta go?
My point is you have to have some intelligence. You have to have somebody saying, "Oh, there's a ton of illegals here." You can't just randomly pick a spot. So, well, the intelligence was wrong.
Well, think of all the other illegals they've arrested, right? Some of them are going to squeal on others.
Well, the eviction
The-
thing sticks out to me more than any of the other stuff. Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? And for
The
that to
evicting of black
happen,
people?
for that to happen, see, the police force hasn't got the authority to do that. Now, if they had a housing authority official that was there inspecting those houses while the busts were taking place, then freaking, yeah, I would say it was an inside job, and it was the only purpose.
Absolutely.
The only purpose for that was freaking go in there and kick people out of
Get
freaking,
people out.
and that was it.
Yeah.
There-
Anybody looking at it can see that. Yeah.
because you have to have a housing authority official to go in there and freaking say, look, this is below standards, you're gone. The police force can't do that. That's not how it works here in the United States. We're a free country, unlike over in England with their socialist bureaucracy.
There's been a court order to do these deportations on a federal level, right? That's why they're doing it.
Where do you live, by the way, Mr. Robot?
But
He's in Australia.
I'm in Australia.
Yeah.
So, if your Australian government went through, let's just say you had a kangaroo problem, okay? Yeah, these kangaroos, there's too many of them. We want to kill them all. We're going to do a countrywide search for these kangaroos. And they kick down your door, put a gun in your face, and tell you you're harboring kangaroos with no intel or bad intel. Do you think that's right?
Well, it's a different situation, right? Because these
No,
kangaroos supposedly aren't pedophiles and rapists. You know.
See,
Doesn't matter.
that right there,
Doesn't
just
matter.
blows your
Not
freak.
gangbangers and drug
Look,
dealers
that
and
blows you right there automatically, because freaking this is the whole thing that gets on my
These are
nerves.
innocent people.
No,
Innocent.
People like they're throwing up every single person who freaking comes from another country now are freaking pedophiles and criminals. And this is
can't
like,
equate that.
yeah, I mean, this always pops up, you know what I mean? This is nothing more than a nationalist freaking load of shit, okay? And this is the reason why I say freaking nationalism and socialism needs to be gone from the United States. It's time to freaking rid our country of that
your
bullshit.
Argument makes no sense, man.
Okay,
Your argument makes no sense. There was 20 million people that came in. Are you telling me none of them are pedophiles? None of them are drug
there's
dealers? None
freaking
of them
people
are
in this
terrorists?
country that are
That's totally beside
freaking.
the point.
There's people in this country that were born and raised here and they're pedophiles. Why is it freaking?
Yeah, but
Why
you're
is it-
deflecting. That's not my
No.
asking. That's
Yeah,
not
it
what
is.
I'm asking. I'm asking out of the 20 million people that came
Whatever,
across the southern border,
whatever.
you honestly think
That shit-
none of them have done anything wrong ever?
I'm sure
That's
some of
fucking
them have.
retarded.
I'm sure some
Doesn't
of them
matter.
have. I'm sure it doesn't even. Yeah, right. It doesn't even equate. Okay,
It doesn't, yeah.
that's a load of
Even
shit.
if it was 1%, if only 1% were like really bad people, that's still like 100,000, 200,000 people, man.
1%. 1% of 20.
bad people in the
1% of
country.
20,000. Isn't that what you just said? That's like 2,000 people.
20 million. 20
No,
million.
20 million.
Isn't
Come
it?
on, dude.
That's what they said came across the border.
And that's what I'm
just
saying.
not-
You got to stop listening to Alex Jones. Okay. Seriously.
Right.
Dude, it's been widely reported. Let's see.
I mean, if you didn't have Alex Jones as a superhero, freaking, you would actually get real freaking official news freaking information. But Alex Jones keeps fucking you up, dude.
I didn't get it from Alex Jones.
Sure you didn't.
You're just trying to like make fun of me, man.
Well, you're the one who said Alex
It's,
Jones. You brought it on yourself.
That's what
You,
you do
you
when you have a
did.
weak argument.
No, you just mentioned Alex Jones, dude.
You mentioned Alex Jones.
You did it.
No, Roger did. I didn't.
I know.
Um,
you
So
literally.
here it says 11 million people, 14 million people. All right, so
I
there you
know,
go.
but it says
This is
3
not
million
Alex
people.
Jones.
Do you realize how many
This is on
people
Wikipedia, bruh. All right, on Wikipedia. All right.
Okay.
So,
So-
It's all Wikipedia, bro.
hey, listen. Do you realize how many people are in the United States? What the population of the United States is?
You're close to 350 million people.
That's it. Okay, and they're trying to tell you that freaking over 1.5 million of those people are freaking illegals that snuck across the border.
well, they have problems in pretty much every community in the U.S., don't they? Like,
No, they don't.
Um,
You know, I have some of the coolest Mexicans in my freaking area. They freaking do like the best freaking roofing jobs you'd ever see, dude.
I'm not talking about Mexicans; they're natives. I'm talking about African,
no.
Middle
Oh, okay.
Chinese.
So now we don't
People that
badmouth
have
the
come from
Mexicans
far
like we did,
away to take
Oh,
advantage.
like we did
Look
4
at the
months
Somalian
ago.
situation, man.
Now
Somalians
it's
just robbed your country of like billions of dollars. and
now
you
it's the
don't care?
Somalia's turn, right?
Mexicans are only half native because of the Spaniards, by the way.
You see, 4 months ago it was the Mexicans. Now we have to attack the Somalians because freaking we're done with them.
Attacking them. I'm just pointing out the fact that they just like it's widely reported that they've taken like $1 billion.
You know what that was all about, dude?
scams.
You know what that was all about? That was all about freaking like what do they call it, daycare centers. Okay, and like politicians.
And, like, if
Politicians-
no one checks up on these Africans, they're gonna take the money and run.
Politicians
Which
were funneling freaking money out of the government and shit, and they were connected. They had freaking, they were Somalians, I believe, and then like they took it to this whole extent now where they're saying, oh, they're funneling money out to terrorist freaking organizations in Somalia and shit. And there's absolutely no evidence saying that that's true. Nothing whatsoever.
That's what's true.
No, they're literally trying to say now that freaking that this money was being funneled into terrorist hands in Somalia, and there's absolutely nothing.
There's no
Well,
record.
I don't
There's
know.
no.
I haven't seen. It doesn't really matter whose hands they go into. The point is that the money left the U.S.
No, I mean literally, they're saying that though.
Yeah.
They're saying that though. Just because you haven't
Who cares
heard.
whose money, like whose hands it went to? The fact is they stole it. You know what I mean? Like you guys pay taxes that
Yeah,
was meant to go to like government projects.
I see it
Well,
this.
I mean,
foreign illegals
our
to sell it,
politicians
like-
do our politicians do this. Our military officials do this. Our government does this. Daily corporations do this.
Mhm.
Nobody bats an eye. But
And,
when some
and,
black people from Africa do it, rage.
and let me point out USAID again, okay? Why did frickin' Elon Musk and frickin' Trump have a falling out? Is because after they pulled all that money out of frickin' all of that shit that frickin' they were funneling it into through USAID and all these other things, what did Donald Trump do? He funneled it right back into the government. He put it right back where it frickin' was pulled out of, when that money should have went right back into the pockets of the taxpayers, the one that,
Right.
you know what I mean? Instead of doing that, though, he freaking funneled it right back into the government.
And he upped the military spending. for
Exactly.
sure.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But my point is just, it's not a good idea to just let millions and millions of people come across the border and steal your money. Like,
but the thing is, though,
you guys are going to be dealing with the consequences of that for the next 2
No,
generations.
there is no consequences. Everybody keeps saying that shit. There is absolutely
None.
there was never any consequences
As
from
someone who
immigrants.
grew up in Africa, I'll tell you,
Here in the
there's
United
gonna be
States, we've
consequences.
had, I don't know what happened in Africa, but here in the United States, it was never a consequence.
Yeah, the
Well,
United
but
States is
let me
gone,
say-
mate. Forget
but
it.
let me
No,
say,
we're actually doing a lot better than most countries, to be honest with you. Like,
we're kind of a big
Yeah.
deal.
yeah,
We're kind of up there, you know.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I don't know about all
You
the.
just imported a whole bunch of people that don't share your values and don't care
No,
about your country. You're gonna
they
be-
have
you're gonna
they
be
have
dealing with
they
the
have not
consequences of
affected
that.
this country
Well,
whatsoever.
Listen,
Dude.
listen. Either way you want to put it, whatever side of the aisle that you're on, you got to look at the situation. You got to look at the actions. Everybody's
I'm not on
complaining
either
about the
side of
illegals.
the aisle, just for the
Well,
record.
yeah, well.
No, I mean
well,
seriously, nothing has happened in the United States
I
whatsoever.
wouldn't
but
vote
the
for
thing is,
fucking
though-
Democrats or Republicans. They're
But-
both fucking corrupt as each other.
Absolutely. But the thing is, though, ICE was supposed to be getting rid of illegals, right? So why are they on the northern border in all the Democratic states?
I heard they're
We
even,
need them. We need
Because
them on the southern
the
border.
Democratic states are the ones that have the sanctuary cities mostly, and that's where the illegals like migrated to mostly. There was a lot of NGOs that basically put them on buses on the southern border and shipped them off into Democrat
That-
states because the
that
Democrats
was
wanted
the
to
stuff.
use them as a voting base.
oh
Yes,
no
that's
no
true.
no
In the
no
next
no no no
election,
no no
they
no
used them
no.
to
Illegals
win the
cannot
election.
vote. Don't listen to
I-
that shit.
Damn it.
No.
he does
You
have
don't
a
even
point.
realize how corrupt
No,
it is.
he does have a
No,
point.
no, no,
He's got a
no.
point. He's got a point. He's got a point. However, I think if it were more a genuine sort of a thing, more of a good faith sort of thing, they would send these agents on the southern border. And instead of going to harass people on the northern border for supporting for them doing their own thing and living out their own views, why don't you do a stopgap measure? Go to the border, close off the border, and start checking illegals from there. Let
They
the
have
police.
done that. That's the
No.
first thing they did.
Well, see,
Well,
this
No.
all of this shit
No.
stems from the birther movement, and I used to be okay with them until freaking here recently. Like, I'm so sick of freaking these birthers. Like, they started freaking talking dumb shit about Obama fucking not being a legal fucking citizen of the United States. And now they're attacking freaking dual citizenship because freaking they don't think if you're
To be
born.
fair, Obama didn't release his birth certificate.
Whatever,
so,
dude.
like,
You know what I mean? Come on, dude. Are you fucking serious? Like, serious? Who gives
You
a
don't
shit?
remember that.
Who gives a shit? You know what I
You
mean?
should. You
No,
should.
I want a
You should
country.
care whether you-
I want
you
a
don't care,
country.
like, that's why
I
Ilhan
want
Omar is
a
like,
government. I want a government to
woman
make
right now
sure
because
that
people
freaking
like
the
you
money
don't care
goes.
where
No,
your-
I
where
want
your
a
money's
government.
coming
Listen, I talk about serious politics, okay? I want a government that
Yeah,
actually
I am
pays
too,
the
and
fucking
you're
bills.
saying it's okay to import
when
foreigners and have
you
them
put
because
money
you don't give a
into
shit.
when you put money into the government through your taxes, you want fucking shit to happen like milk not being more expensive than fucking gasoline, okay? That's the important shit. The price of lettuce being the way it's supposed to be instead of freaking what the prices are today. We don't give a rat's ass about freaking Mexicans slipping over the fucking border or freaking
Yeah, but don't you
Obama's
realize
wife
these things are
having a
connected,
fucking
Roger?
penis, dude.
Don't you realize that if you import a whole bunch of people that steal your government's going to have to print more money,
This-
deflating your currency,
listen, this-
and that causes prices
This
to go up?
that bullshit has been started and it's been going for the last 50 years. It's so fucking old. I'm sick of hearing it. Shut the fuck up when
Yeah,
it
but
comes
just
to
look
that
at the
shit
amount of
and
money
do
that's being
something.
printed
You know
since
what I mean?
COVID, mate.
Why is it that these
Being
people go
exponential.
into office and they keep fucking talking the same redneck bullshit, white supremacist bullshit? And that's all they do. They're fucking idiots.
So you're a self-hating white, are you?
No, I'm not a self-hating white. I'm just a common human being who like,
you are. You're probably anti-white, actually.
you know what I mean? It's just
Oh, I think just keeping it real.
Why would you put up with that same bullshit that was said fucking 30 fucking years ago all the way up to today? And
not the same shit.
Yes, it is.
It's
It's the same shit, dude. It is
Do you
the
honestly
same
think
shit.
deporting illegals is about white supremacy?
It's fucking stupidity.
That's what you're trying
Kind
to
of the
say.
cornerstone of it, actually. Kind of
Yeah,
the cornerstone.
yeah,
No, it's not.
yeah. It is.
They would have deported your ass too.
You know why?
But they didn't.
You know the history behind Ellis Island, right? Have you even bothered to find out about the history of Ellis Island and what it's really about?
This is the first time I've heard the word, but my point is,
You don't know
they would
about Ellis
deport
Island?
freaking me if I was there. Even if I'm white, it doesn't matter. It's got nothing to do with race, you fucking fools. It's got to do with being illegal, coming across the border without documentation. That's what it's about.
Oh, well,
race.
Tell that to the people. Tell that to the black families who were shoved in U-Haul trunks and kicked out of their apartments.
And the Asians and the bloody whoever else came across. It's not
No. I mean, I'm talking American
Black
citizens.
American citizens.
American citizens. You're not paying attention.
Okay, bring up one article. Bring me up one article where an American citizen got arrested by ICE and kept like detained.
Oh, how long do you got? You got all night? I can do it right now.
So,
How many of those cases have been
I can do it right
prosecuted?
now, brother. Dude, just turn on TV.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I don't watch TV.
That's how you got so brainwashed.
I don't
No,
Watch
TV.
too much
No.
TV, mate.
I don't watch any
Stop
TV.
it.
However,
You gotta realize
I
the
do check the
Democrats
news.
control pretty much the rest of the TV,
Okay.
man. And
but you need to watch the TV.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't need to.
I mean,
don't need to.
dude.
I read.
I mean, start reading about Ellis Island, dude. That was. I mean, it's like it amazes me that you've never heard of Ellis Island
Why
until
is it
just now.
relevant, Roger?
Because Ellis
Can you tell me in
Island,
one sentence why it's
Ellis
relevant?
Island is where friggin' this supposed immigrant problem started. This is where they decided all the immigrants needed to go to in order to freaking become American citizens. It's in New York, next to the Statue of Liberty. Okay, so like, you should be reading about Ellis Island and why immigration was even put into place here in the United States. Okay. Like, it has absolutely nothing
Why
to
do I
do
need to
with
do that?
it has absolutely nothing to do with anything good, okay, whatsoever.
And do you know what's funny about this too? Mr. Robot is an Australian. He's literally a citizen of a penal colony that got deported. Go straight.
Into a freaking prison.
And he doesn't understand his
Wow.
politics.
It's a paradise
That's okay.
presented there.
Oh man.
I know the difference.
And he's
between
telling us we're
blanket
brainwashed.
and ocean around us, and we don't have these illegals coming across the border. As
Yeah,
they
you
do.
are. You're blessed. dude.
You're on an island.
Now what you
Yeah,
need to
and
do,
I
what
tell
you
what, it's nice. We don't have to worry about like
these
all
illegal
the
white
fucking
people.
crazy shit that's going
No,
on over
you
there
need
right
you
now.
need to make sure these illegal white people freaking don't come creeping across your borders, because you got a lot of these fucked up African dudes.
Oh, you guys are funny.
You Americans, you're the only ones in the world that's so obsessed with race, man. I actually personally don't believe in race. I don't think it's a thing. I believe in genetic alleles, not race. There's no evidence that race.
I am
exists.
against it
It's
too.
just a
That's
word
I
that stupid people come up with.
that's the reason why I have such an
But-
issue here, because of
but you got people like
ethno.
Trump. But you got people like Trump that don't share the same belief.
Right. I mean, that's everything rotates
you don't know
around.
what Trump believes.
Everything
How do you know what
rotates
Trump
around
believes? You
ethics.
assume based on your own
I can
projections.
go with his actions. That's a big indicator.
And you, okay,
Yeah,
dude,
but you
honestly,
don't know what
honestly,
influenced those
Big
actions,
indicator.
You know, it could be complex situation.
hold up. Tell me the difference between what he's doing now and what Biden and frickin' all them did before. It has
Tell
to
me
do
how
with
he's doing anything different from
ethics.
Hitler.
No, listen, hey, it all has to do with ethnics. Like, it has to do with the color of the skin when it comes to both sides. There,
So,
Donald Trump is preaching how horrible these Mexicans are, how horrible these Somalians are, how horrible.
What?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yes,
is,
he
dude.
does.
Dude,
He literally
he
uses
wants
the
to keep
term.
him. He wants to keep him in the country.
He-
In fact,
he-
Donald Trump
he-
said, you better get your
He had the
it
he had the
because he
South
wants to- he's
African
gonna kill him.
president in front of him, and he started freaking talking about freaking farmer genocide. Okay,
He
on national
literally uses
television.
the
I'm
term
gonna prove you
shithole
wrong
countries.
with
Listen to me.
video.
He literally uses the term shithole countries. People from shithole countries.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, you
So-
disagree with him? Do you think,
So
you
that's
think some countries
I
are
do.
so you think
I
that
do
you
have-
think
yeah.
you think that's
Disagree with
appropriate?
you.
Is that
like
what you're saying?
Somalia? You don't think Somalia's a show?
Should a president be saying that? Because he's
No,
telling you
seriously.
politics right there. You want to say what he
Well, Trump's
believes.
never been politically correct. You know, that's
Yeah.
probably why people like
Well,
him.
well, yeah, okay, but it still tells you what his intentions are by his actions and what he says.
It's not very good.
It's not.
Not
yeah,
really. He's
it's
a
not
bit of a
good.
dark horse, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean a
'Cause
lot of.
I think like it's hard to tell the difference between what Trump says, does, and thinks because
He's stupid.
you know he's got a long history of like you know
He's not
people
smart.
funding him basically. So I don't know what kind of forces he is meant to like appease.
Well,
based
see,
on his past.
Stupid
That's
people,
the
stupid
mystery
people with power are usually unhinged, and they make decisions freaking that aren't really freaking thought through. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why he's unpredictable. It's not because he's smart; it's because he's a very stupid man who freaking doesn't really think things through.
That's
He's
possible.
impulsive.
I actually
He's a
do.
spoiled child.
Some
He's an
indeed.
80-year-old spoiled child.
I mean, the man has
on.
never had any period in his life where he had to actually do something for himself. You know what I'm saying?
He's got a very narrow set of skills. Like he's only like versed in like finance, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know, golf
Well,
courses. That's
And
about
not only that, well, he's always had to pay for sex. I mean, come on, he bought all his
Well,
wives.
dude, freaking look at him though. I mean, I would pay for him.
I don't think he's ever had sex without paying for it.
I'm not gonna fucking lie, dude. I would. Milana,
And he always had girls around him.
and they were
Yeah.
hot. Every single chick he's ever had was a hot chick.
Yeah, Yeah.
Every single
Except the
one.
current
paid
one.
for it. How many times you get sued for? Oh, I'm sorry. He probably.
It's not so much that it's bought and paid for. It's just that women are attracted to money. You
Yeah.
know? That's how they work. They operate that way.
Well,
and they got paid. So, but I do
Well,
take
they
it back. He
have to
probably
get
has
paid.
had
That's
sex.
why they're attracted to it.
He probably has had sex without paying for it, but then again, he did get taken to court for this.
no, I
Those
mean,
are rapists. Come on.
I do want to bring something else up too, because like freaking this is important. Like the other day we were on Nancy's show and freaking we ended up having a big old fire up about this. Okay, this whole thing with Trump. Now the reason why this has happened is because even though people who freaking did at one time support Trump freaking voted him in and everything, there's been a split. Okay, so that's kind of the strange part about it. And like me, I even voted for Trump too, but I'm not for him at all anymore. And that even goes into another direction because those people
You're
have
pretty much full blown liberal now, aren't you?
no,
Roger?
those people have split in half too, because now freaking you have like with MC Dirty Work, okay? I agree with him on a lot of things that freaking concern Donald Trump, but he got in a big old fight over a lot of the stuff that was being discussed the other night. I agree with him on some of it, but I also know that like he's one of those people who freaking want to always freaking talk shit about the Jews and blame the Jews for all the problems going on in the world. And I don't believe in blaming people fucking for our problems. Like stop blaming the Jews, stop blaming freaking the Spanish or the Mexicans or the, you know what I mean? Take responsibility
But
for
who are we
yourself.
meant to blame?
You blame yourself if
Blame
anything.
yourself. Yeah,
Stop blaming other people for your own problems.
exactly.
You know.
Well, I mean, what if like some of my problems is caused by
That's not true.
globalists,
None of that.
control us?
None of that's true. You control your own destiny, dude.
it is up to you to confront the issue and to correct it.
Maybe. To a certain limit. To
Whatever,
a
dude.
certain limit.
Yeah, to a limit. Yeah, of course.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
That
you
limit
hear.
is the law. Like,
You hear Mark always talking
When you
about the
get
terms of
busted-
services, okay? And when he says that goes back to what I just said. You didn't read the terms of service. So whenever he says that, that means it's the end of the conversation. You see?
yeah, my issue is that
When I say
these
take
rich
responsibility,
globalist forces like the Jews are changing our laws to impede our freedoms.
now we
And, Yeah, I
understand.
could like break the law.
See?
I could break the law, but there's consequences if I get caught. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in control
Okay.
of what I do right now,
Okay.
but if I get caught, then no longer in control. Then they will take control of me, is what I'm saying. And I don't like that.
So your immediate way to handle an external situation would be something illegal?
No, it would be to blame the Jews.
No, so the way I look at it is you got to play the game.
It's the
to
fucking
some extent,
Jews,
right?
man.
Like,
Oh yeah,
if there's something you don't agree with and you don't want to do it, don't fucking do it.
right.
But don't get caught not doing it. You know what I mean? So like when someone's watching, make sure you're doing the right, like the legal thing. But
So
you got to
like,
play the game. is what I'm
like,
saying.
like Christian Bale in Grammaton Cleric, right?
Yeah, I can't remember that movie.
Oh, they're taking the pills to make you emotionless, to be a part of the system, and he stopped taking the pills.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Mark's taken a few of those.
No, Mark has not
Maybe.
taken Mark has not taken any of those pills freaking at all, dude.
He snorts them every morning.
Yeah. For my first coffee.
He's got to get through the day somehow.
What were we talking about again? I forgot.
Mark Edwards' drug problem. Yes. Let's continue on that.
Yeah, my drug problem.
No, you were saying don't blame anyone.
No, don't. It's a matter of taking responsibility for yourself and stop blaming other people for your problems. Like, it's really easy to blame Mexicans and blame freaking Hispanics and freaking the Jews,
I get that.
the Middle East. You know, it's those.
Don't put blame where it doesn't belong.
You
But
know.
when there is wrong being done, absolutely point it out. Otherwise, it keeps happening, right?
Well, there's a
And
difference
if
between
that's
that.
part of the problem.
There's a difference
know?
between that and blaming other people too. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
I mean, here's the thing: everyone's other people, and some of those people are good, some of those people are not.
right?
So, like,
Exactly.
you got to point the finger at those that are not, so that we know where to take action. Is what I'm saying.
It's just becoming too much of a freaking theme, dude. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, when it's becoming.
You can't say just because it's a theme, it's not real. You
it-
see it in the
look,
news every day.
look, man,
like fucking, if it's not
it's-
genocide, it's let's fucking nuke
It's
Iran.
literally not.
you know,
Look
every
who's
fucking
look
day
who's the
news
one.
come
Okay,
up
hold
on the
up.
bloody news, mate, is what
Let's
I'm saying.
look who is freaking trying to nuke Iran. Okay, it's the same person you're fucking sitting here saying is a great guy. He's doing great. He fucking just
Right.
He just launched
I don't
missiles.
think he wants to, but I think he will.
What? Yeah.
Not nuke him, but I think he'll definitely bomb him again.
He
because
is
he's
literally
not safe.
debating on doing the insurrection act here in the United States. You know what that means to
Yeah.
me? That means that
Should have done it ages ago.
no,
But
this
I
is
mean,
this is his tyrannical
Lord.
step to where he can depose the government and fucking take over. This is
Come on,
going.
man.
This is going to be. This is going to be
he's
where he
in
makes
control
his
of the
move.
government right now. What are you talking
He's.
about?
This is different. This is a coup. Like, if he does the insurrection
Bro,
act,
What do you
he's
think Jan 6 was? That's when they did it
no.
the first
Jan
time.
6 wasn't an insurrection at all.
Well, they claimed it was, didn't they?
They didn't freaking actually pull the insurrection act on him.
Well, they went after everyone that was.
And this,
that's-
and let me
jail.
let me also point something out there. That goes back to Homeland Security, which I freaking am 100% against. Okay, I think freaking that should have never been done. And everybody today freaking just accepts it like it's a great thing, and it's not. Freaking, it should have never been freaking put into effect. And I felt that way from the very first day when I heard freaking Homeland Security freaking came about.
Isn't it kind of unconstitutional?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Homeland Security is very unconstitutional.
Yeah.
Because the Constitution says you're meant to have well-regulated militias to take care of that stuff, right?
Mhm.
Exactly. You get it. No, okay. I'm going to hand the hat to you on that one. I've been preaching that for years. We have issues like that we're having now. It should be militias handling it. It shouldn't be.
That is
we're
the
not,
smart way to do it, man.
We're not supposed to have a
Decentralized power.
standing military force within our country.
Yeah.
So, not a federal one, anyways. But they get away with it because we're in a constant state of war. As long as we're at war, it waives our rights.
This is where I think America went wrong, unfortunately, is like you should have just stuck to those principles in the Constitution. You would have been fine. Now it's going to be a bit of a shit fight to like get it back to that. But, you know,
Yeah.
live and learn.
And
live and try to survive.
And I want you guys to know something, man, freaking, because this is true, you know, only on this freaking show with all of us could we do this, because everything on freaking Vixen's Vault the other day went to fucking shit because of having this conversation. It got so bad that Mark freaking, not Mark here, but Mark Watoshik freaking looked like he is going to have a freaking heart attack, dude, because of it. You know,
people get emotional about it.
You know, and it just, this is the only freaking show where whenever we get together, freaking, we can actually talk about it and not have everybody freaking going nuts. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think we've done all right.
And we always freaking be, just so you know, me and Mr. Robot always go freaking toe to toe on shit. Like he's not able to really cope with my freaking.
I actually play devil's advocate quite a lot too.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, so like when it comes to the whole Insurrection Act, I can see the argument for it, but at the same time, I think it's a trap because it sets a precedent where if the tyrants take over in the future, that precedent will be set and they'll be able to abuse it. So I think it's a dangerous thing actually to do. It should be like an absolute last resort, not just be a convenient thing.
You know, I was against January 6th. So just to let you know, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't fucking use January 6th in any way to justify freaking anything Donald Trump does. Donald Trump doesn't give a rat's ass about.
He hasn't done it yet.
Donald
Trump, what I'm saying. They have set the precedent. You know, if I was Trump, I'd be like, "You motherfuckers did that last time. I can do it now," and I would just do it.
Donald Trump does not care about January 6th. He doesn't care about any of those people that got put in prison. There was probably a good chance that he did freaking tell them that he freaking was going to do it, because there was a show I watched that was like 2 days before that with David Hancock, where he was doing his own stream, and he said that he had inside news, or insiders, he had information from insiders about something that was going to go down within the next couple of days. And this was like days before January the 6th. And that was his last freaking broadcast.
Oh, yeah. And then he went to jail, right?
Uh-huh.
I actually, did you see he started a podcast out of jail called The Fusion Cell. Yeah. So like there was a cop lady that actually called him up on Collect Call every day, and they would like do a live podcast from jail. And like this guy said the most based shit. I like the whole time I was in India, I was listening to him in jail, because like this, I would actually vote. Like if I was you, I'd vote that guy into presidency, because he's a fucking hero, man. Like I don't know, he just like has good principles, good morals, good empathy. Donald Trump. Yeah, he's a wild horse. Like I've never seen him show any authentic emotion ever, like in public. So I don't know whether he's a psychopath or just like
he's a psychopath.
Closed off or what. But
he's a psychopath.
Yeah.
He's a wild horse, and you know I bet he dances in front of a mirror wearing a wig and tucks his penis between his legs.
No, that's Buffalo Bill. That's
He does enough
Yeah.
bad shit to make shit up about him. Like I can list enough bad shit about him without having to make up anything. Like,
well, I mean,
he's definitely not a saint.
I'm not making up anything. I'm just making a joke.
I'm
That's all.
I'm not really in the habit of saying bad things about Donald Trump. It's usually freaking Bill Altman who I say bad things about. You know what I mean? But like, and that's about it. That's about as far as it goes. But like here,
Well,
like
you know, like
here lately, it's just getting to the point where you have to freaking say bad shit about the dude because he's gone too far and he keeps
He's
going.
gone way too
He,
far.
he keeps freaking just reaching and reaching. He thinks he's freaking God, dude, and that nobody can touch him. And he,
well, his first mistake is keeping all those psychopaths around him. You know, Lindsey Graham, all those like fucking crazy Jews.
Mhm.
I just imagine the things they're whispering in his ear all the time. Of course, he's going to turn into this god complex crazy bastard. He was always on the verge of that anyway, and like he was starting to come good after he got shot in the ear a little bit, and then everyone started going, "No, man, God chose for you to survive, so you can do this that we want to do and that we want to do," and like you know, imagine hearing that every fucking day. Yeah, maybe he starts to believe it after a while, and oh my god,
Yeah.
it's just anyway, it's
it's getting to the point where freaking shit's going to hit the
what
fan.
we should be doing is looking at what's happening after Trump because he's not going to be around for very long, and you know it can go way worse than him. From
Well, it is gonna go because if you look at the behaviors, like we've gone from Obama to freaking Donald Trump, back to freaking Biden, then to freaking Trump again, and in every case, it's just escalated and gotten worse and worse and worse.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Like you said, both parties have been split now on some issues, and I don't know and if they do manage to deport a bunch of illegals or at least stop them to vote by, you know, making mandatory ID for voting and stuff like that. It is going to change the dynamics of the next election quite a lot. It's good. I would hate for you guys to get Newsom, for example. That could be really bad.
It's going to be horrible anyway. Look, because even the governor of Illinois is going to be running. So,
well, Pritzker is he seems to be kind of a cool guy.
No, he's not.
You don't like Pritzker?
Well, see, he's ran.
Oh, Pritzker! Oh my God,
no,
he's disgusting.
No, he's freaking.
He's like the worst version of Donald Trump.
Well, he's bought and paid for by the Crown family.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Crown family is the richest family in Illinois, and they're
oh, what?
Yeah, they're they're the ones who freaking pulls Pritzker's strings. And before him, it was Michael Madigan who they had control over. So I gotta get back on the stream. Sorry, guys. I ended up getting cut off.
You're already a megalomaniac, megalomaniacal maniac.
Maniacal.
You don't need to be paid to be that way.
That's what Trump said as well, and then Trump got bought off by Israel and like whoever else.
But I mean, yeah, that's the way you got to look at it. Like, I mean, stop and think about what you're saying whenever you start freaking touting about how great this guy is. Like, look at everything that he's freaking done. Okay, like he's not freaking doing good at all. Like, you can't have it both ways. Well, he's freaking doing great on this immigration thing, but that horrible bastard's kissing those freaking Jewish girls, and you know.
I don't care about the girls. I don't care more about Netanyahu. You know, it's always freaking kissing his feet and.
Well, I mean,
kissing the bowl and.
I don't feed into the Jewish agenda thing. I think that's a load of shit. Like, I don't do the whole freaking it's all the Jews' fault.
It's weird though that every single one of your presidents and politicians go to kiss the wall in Israel. You don't think that's strange?
That's not Israel. That's called. I keep telling you guys. That's freaking. What is it? The American Israeli freaking I keep forgetting it. APAC or
4G.
APAC is what it is. It's the American Israel Alliance thing, and that's a political freaking party or
It's meant to be an American lobby group for Jews,
lobby group. Yeah.
but it ends up lobbying for Israel.
No. Look, it has nothing to do. It's about freaking just the power of them. Okay, like they use Israel as a reason for freaking lobbying, but the money actually gets funneled back into it for freaking paying off politicians and passing laws and stuff. So
Well, it is also a bit of a scam because
it is.
the U.S. gives like $2 billion to Israel every year, and then Israel gives that money back to the U.S. politicians to bribe them. So they basically get it for free, you know.
And there's no
They
evidence
pay
that
for it.
money even goes into Israel's hands. They just freaking they freaking say here, you know, and then it's just a matter of signing freaking papers, basically. Like, because
Oh, they'd spend it on military gear and
no, Israel has the freaking best
social media
military
campaign.
in the world, dude. People don't understand that. Like they have the best freaking air force in the world, dude. They have a better air force than the United States does.
I had a IDF agent uh, trying her best to shack up with me.
Oh, be
This
careful there,
was
mate.
well, no, it's funny because I busted her three weeks into her hitting on me and trying to get with me, or sending me nudes. This is like when I first started my radio show with the RBN, and
Oh, wow.
and like I was like, you know what? You keep talking, you keep like interrogating me. What's going on here? And I reverse interrogated her, and to find out that she was an interrogator for the Israel Defense Force. And I busted her cold. And then so once I
That's just a
dismissed her,
conspiracy theory, isn't it,
well,
Mark?
no,
Isn't it,
no.
Roger?
But you know what? I would say I would give it a possibility that she was lying. However, she started working her way through other people who did shows with me and tried worming her way into influencing them. It took me like these guys with the other shows, they got so pissed off at me. Like V's talking all this crap. V is saying he had a thing with your girl. She's starting stuff. Literally had to get on with these other hosts and show him that I had naked pictures of her. Like, how did I get these then? And like, I totally busted her whole psyop.
Yeah, I saw that on Fresh and Fit. that was all up on Fresh and Fit, dude. They were like talking about how freaking V was just a dirty old bastard.
Well, no, at the
No,
time,
I
me and
believe it, man. I mean, like, look at Netanyahu. He's saying this is like the new field of warfare for them. They're going to spend like millions and millions of dollars on social media next year.
Yeah.
Probably U.S. tax dollars, but you know.
No, I mean seriously,
they realize it's the new media, right? And the Jews have always gone after the media ever since day one, and they need to go after it to control the narrative.
You need to understand. There's a big alliance, and this alliance consists of Israel, England, and freaking the United States. Okay, and it's always been that way. There's never been any. There's never been any one like you're saying that we are being threatened by the United States. We are just as much of a threat as what Israel is. Just like England is just as much of a threat. We've all three countries have been doing this shit intentionally against its own people. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Okay, I gotta ask. Are you, Mr. Robot? Are you one of those? There's a Jew behind every broadcast.
Yeah, he is.
Kind of guys.
Yeah, he is.
Not every.
Like, most of them.
Most of them in the U.S. probably.
Now he's attacking the United States. You see, now he's starting to sound
like most of the media in the world is owned by 6 families.
He's blaming the United States like Mark Edworthy does. Once I start saying mean things, he gets all freaking upset and starts saying mean shit about the United States too. He's just like Mark.
No, I'm trying to be objective. Like, I don't have like a hatred for Jewish people per se. I just don't like the fact that they're influencing my government and limiting my free speech through legislation. You know, just leave me the fuck alone, and I'll leave you the fuck alone. But they won't leave me alone, so I won't leave them alone.
Dude,
And
the ADL is going to have their super covert team at your door.
see,
Okay.
we actually have like 3 different ADL type organizations here
No.
in Australia
Oh,
that do similar
wow.
kind of lobbying.
This is the perfect.
And-
This is the perfect time to bring this up and kind of explain my take on this shit. Now, recently, MTV got shut down, and there's a reason for that. It's like freaking there. You know, after enough time, it's time to stop fucking killing or kicking a dead horse. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
every
Some profitable.
everybody talks about freaking like censorship and all that stuff, but they don't understand what took place when it comes to MTV. MTV was supposed to be, when it first started up, it was the anti-censorship freaking flagship, basically. Everybody freaking understood that's what MTV was about. Now, if you take a look at the history of MTV, MTV was freaking taken over and literally destroyed from the inside out. You know what I mean? Like, they literally took MTV over freaking and destroyed it, and now freaking they just shut it down. Okay.
Technically, it's now, well, it was shut down by Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The same people that were fighting against MTV and freaking didn't like the fact that they were out and were fighting against censorship was the same ones who bought them out and eventually shut them down. Made it to where MTV was a freaking joke, you know, and nobody watched it anymore because it was just garbage. And that's what they did. They freaking did it, and now that's what's going on today. You know what I mean? You can say that freaking this stuff is done by some infiltrator from freaking Israel and all that shit, but that, I mean, it's not the case. I mean, the majority of people who want to censor us today are freaking people who are atheists, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, but you got to realize Jews aren't necessarily a religious group; they're an ethnic group as well. So you know, you get a lot of atheist Jews, for example,
UN doctrine, yeah.
according to them. But
Jewish
you know about the
bankers.
Mega Group, right? Mega Group.
Megadeth.
No, not Megadeth,
I love
but they do want to create Megadeth.
Megadeth is a rock band, dude.
Yeah, but
You're such a freaking old fart. Like, God, dude, you don't even know
the
who
Mega Group
Megadeth is.
refers to multiple distinct organizations across.
Where is it?
Here we go. The Mega Group, a secretive billionaire network. This group, formed in 1991 by Charles Bronfman and Leslie Wexner from Epstein fame, is described as a powerful informal coalition of mega billionaires who meet twice yearly to influence U.S. foreign policy, particularly regarding Israel, and deploy billions in charitable funds. It is also alleged to have had ties to the Israeli intelligence agency Mossad and served as a vehicle for influence operations in the United States. Notable members include Steven Spielberg, Roland Lauder, I don't know who that is, Michael Steinhardt, Edgar Bronfman, and Leslie Wexner, who was linked to Jeffrey Epstein. The group was reportedly still active in 2001, with its existence first revealed in 1998.
Talking of which, what's happening at this present moment? Davos. It's Davos season again.
Yep. And good old Trump gave a bit of a speech there. Did you guys see it?
No.
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 It was pretty interesting. I didn't watch the whole thing, but
I don't get freaking excited about anything that Donald Trump is involved in anymore, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, he's
And
done one thing recently that I actually do admire, which is he basically told BlackRock that you can't buy up all the houses anymore because people can't afford housing.
Yes, I actually seen that. I pointed that out, and I agree with that. That actually was a good. That was a
well,
good call.
okay, but think about why he would say that. Think about why he would say that. Trump is in the real estate industry. He doesn't want an unfair fight. Well, he does. He's making it unfair by limiting his competition.
I don't know.
Well, BlackRock has been big into the real estate,
Yeah.
and like with BlackRock, they've been going up and buying freaking these single home real estate properties, and that causes issues with the prices where the
Yeah.
prices go up, you know. So
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Not just in America either, all over the world.
yeah, Trump is a contractor. He builds things. At least his company does. So you see a conflict of interest there, and everything he does is a conflict of freaking interest.
yeah,
Almost,
Yeah, but
and
man,
nobody's
Trump
stopping
is a
him.
small player compared to BlackRock. You know what I mean? Like he's not gonna put a dent in the real
BlackRock.
estate market. That's not why he did it. He just knows if his
could.
people won't vote for him if they
You know,
can't afford a house. You know,
This man
I
is a megalomaniac. If he can step in somewhere and get in front of the big guys, he's going to. If he's got the leverage and the power to do that, he's going to
to do what?
edge out the competition, or at least slow them down to give himself an edge.
okay. So hold on a minute. We have 6 minutes before 3 hours. I'm gonna call it quits at this point, and if you guys want to come back at a later time, we can get into this because this is good, and I also have more of Mr. Robot's crazy shit. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg, okay? Because we haven't even gotten into Project Pegasus, which I know Mr. Robot loves to talk about. And then there's another one that I want to talk about later on about RFK ordering changes for organ donation networks. This is another one that Robot posted. I thought was funny as shit because apparently they find out that dozens of people who freaking were involved in this weren't even dead when their organs were harvested. So later on, if you guys want to, we can freaking go.
Well, I want you to add something to the list here. Let's
okay,
talk
we can
about,
do that.
Pritzker. Or you know what? This whole I'm a new citizen to Illinois, so I don't. Pritzker sounded like a cool guy because he was opposing Trump, but now you're telling me he's owned by somebody. I need some information.
Well, the Crown family, just check them out. You'll find a lot of good information on them on the internet. They're not very secretive. Like there's no cabal. They own pretty much everything when it comes to politics in Illinois. So.
Well, I want your research. I want you to lead me here.
Okay. Well, later on we can do
point,
it. Later on we can do it. And before we go, I want to give everybody a chance to freaking give out their socials. So let's start with you, Mr. Robot. If you want to give people your socials, how they can contact you and find out about you and stuff like that, it'd be great.
All right. Well, we hang out on Element, and my name on there is also Mr. Robot. You'll see me around. You can join our conspiracy theorist discussion group on Element. If you wanted to join, it is #conspiracy-theory:matrix.org. But I also have a channel on Rumble called Hacker Radio. If you just search for Hacker Radio, you'll find me. I play some sick tunes on there. We have little live parties. Feel free to join. It's been a pleasure.
Right on.
Hey, that sounds like fun.
How about you, V? You got any socials you want to hand out?
If you're a business person, you want to make some money, you can email me at thetruthpharmacy@gmail.com. Or if you just want to get me on your podcast or whatever, go to Gmail, thetruthpharmacy@gmail.com. Otherwise, just contact Mr. Infamous here.
Yeah. There you go. And how about you, Mark Edworthy? How can people find you?
Just on minds.com. Under Nedworthy.
There you go. And with me, like V said, you can get a hold of him through me if you go on Teams and find Rogers Hangout. You can also find Rogers Hangout on Element as well. Just go in there on Element Matrix. You can find me on there. This right here goes in onto the Wonderful World of Weirdness, which we do have a Discord channel for, our server. You guys can find us on Discord as well for the Wonderful World of Weirdness, or you can find my gaming channel at Gaming with Infamous. That's where the Infamous comes from. So I am really grateful that you guys came in tonight to have this chat. This was actually a pretty good conversation, even though I got a little too hardcore with Mr. Robot. He felt the full force of the infamous OG 1973 tonight, and I want to say thank you for.
I had to put up a shield wall
Yeah.
to fend him off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses void shield to keep you out of his warp space.
That's right. But thank you guys for freaking coming in, and this was a really good episode. I think we actually had some good conversations. So
Yeah, man, I miss it. It was good fun.
And I'd like to thank anybody who has been watching the stream. If you liked what you saw and heard, please like, subscribe, share, make comments. We really do appreciate comments down in the comment section, not in the chat. Chat's cool, but leave some comments in that comment section. You don't know how important that is to people, man. They love to get some feedback and have just a conversation. So if you can just want to say hi, say hello to us. And with that being said, I'm going to stop the recording and end the stream, and we will be done.
Stay
for
warm,
tonight.
boys. Stay warm.
Right, exactly. And be careful out there because it's getting pretty cold. So
Yeah. If you get really cold, you can pee in a water bottle and keep it tucked up under your arm. You know.
see, we would have been fine if he wouldn't have gone there. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
Like he